time session. Can't even say that properly. And we are up with my main man, Robbie Toole. So I think I've known Robbie since 2018, and we've both had like a really similar like journey where we're in like the corporate world. I think both doing like sales, and it's just cool that we're both like in the coaching arena at the moment. So that is cool. All right, I can see people are jumping on. I don't want to take too much of Robbie's time, so while everybody joins, I'm going to get Robbie out. All right, so I want to give a big, warm, massive welcome to my main man, Robbie Toole.
Thanks,
How are you,
Brian.
legend?
Yeah, I'm good. Very, very well. So yeah, today, I mean, I was going to chat a little bit about leadership. And then, like you said, coming from the corporate world, that's something that's quite prevalent in there, or you need to have some level of it. And the truth is, I mean, you probably know this yourself, but leadership comes in many forms, right? It's not just a professional thing. It's not just how you get up the ranks, not managing people. It kind of like lands on us everywhere. And truth is, it could be in your relationships. It could be in teams. But the one thing that I found commonly in all the thousands of people that I've led in all my time is the number one thing that actually led to the greatest success or the most successful leaders has been about the leadership of the self. It all comes back to how you lead yourself, because if you're not prepared to lead, then you're going to get led. And that means you're going to be easily influenced by other people. You're going to be easily influenced by outside events. And so I got really curious about that. And my own journey sort of started, where I started to realize this to be true is about 2008. I was becoming easily led by outside influences. I was living in Sydney, and for those of you streaming, Sydney has it's a beautiful city, but at the same time, it does have this level of, I guess, superficiality, because the people are beautiful, the beaches are beautiful, everyone's worried about how they look. And I found myself falling into this trap. And I got to this point, and one of the key lessons here is that I realized, hang on, this is not who I want to be. I want to be better than that, and I've got to change this. So if you don't like something, change it. And so I was listening to like NLP records and things like that, and Chris Howard came up and he said, if this is the problem and that's the not problem, what is it you're choosing to ignore to make you think you've got a problem in the first place? Light bulb. So I pulled myself out, reset life, and went down to Melbourne. So if you don't like it, you can change it. And then I went traveling for a little while. And this is another really big one, is that, what is within your control and what is not within your control. And most people feel like that the things that are outside of their control, they take up a lot of their space. And they end up getting stressed out about all this stuff, but you don't need to. You've got to focus on things that are within your control. And I got back from travel and I couldn't get work, and it was a really stressful time. And the reality is that I started having to realize, well, what can I do about this? Get really real with myself. What can I do about this? And one of the simplest things I could do is actually look after myself. And ever since then, if you look after your body, your mind, yourself, your person, it made me realize just how important that is for your resilience to be able to take on anything, because life is going to barrage us. No matter what, we're always going to have outside influences start to impact us and affect us. And our ability to bounce back from that really stems from how we look after ourselves. So leading yourself to be healthy and well and able is one of the most important things that came from that. And the other thing was, in that moment, is if you just keep going, if you move towards whatever it is that you want to do, if you keep going, you only fail when you quit. And so it's important to you then carry on. Over the next 5 years, I was promoted 3 times, ended up the head of business development at Staples, and then ended up as a general manager in a strategy role of a tech company. And I just kept moving forward and made sure I looked after myself. And those things were really true. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and it hit everybody really hard. And that was a challenging time. And for many other reasons in my world, emotionally, and this breakup and new home had to be sought, and lost the job at the same time. And then the next really big one came to light. And admittedly, it was really hard for a lot of people. Mine was a little bit of a different story. But at the end of the day, I realized that purpose is far more important than a paycheck. And that's what led me to doing this kind of work that I'm doing now. And I'm so pleased that the opportunity, not the travesty, the opportunity landed for me, so that I was able to make that transition without the guilt of, I'm giving up this big paycheck to move across into something that I have to start from the beginning again. And I think a lot of people find themselves in that challenge. And so purpose is more important than a paycheck. So I found myself working with another amazing coach, Christy Wagstaff, and she does NLP and hypnotherapy. A little bit different to me because I'm all about, you know, focusing on like self-leadership and developing programs and material. But it's a nice balance. And we started building this program that is all about self-leadership. It's about looking after you, who you are, what you're about, and what everything is to you, and how you can approach life to live the best way that you really want to, even when life hits us pretty hard. So I want to talk a little bit about 3 key elements of what make up, I guess, that program we put together, because they're probably the most critical things when it comes to self-leadership. And the first one is all about Dr. Me. And this is a framework I've put together. It's diet, rest, meditation, exercise. And those fundamentals, you get you right, everything else becomes so much easier. And I'll talk through the cycle of growth that goes after that. And the final thing is your legacy. So Dre, if it's all right, I might share this screen with everybody really quick here. Yeah, there we go. So I hope you can all see my screen. Well, there we go. You've got it on screen there for you. So guys, diet, rest, meditation, exercise. And we do little workshops and we do challenges with Dr. Me all the time. And the reason we do it is because when life throws difficult times at you, or you get sudden change, or somebody, you know, says something to you that might rock the boat, if you are right in yourself, if you are feeling good about you, you're feeling fit, you're feeling resilient, your mind is clear, it is so much harder to rock the boat because you are just a calm ocean. You are not able to easily be rocked. You become unshakable. And so when we do our challenges, there are a couple of little rules here. So for anyone who decides they want to try this out, especially if you're having a bit of a difficult time, because I guarantee if you feel good about yourself, everything else starts to change too. That these 5 rules, these 5 to thrive, make it a lot easier for you to stay consistent with it. And that's the biggest thing that comes down to, is being consistent. So the first one is take action. And something is always better than nothing. There are times where I've woken up and gone, I am out of time, but I'll take the 10 minutes that I've got to just do a quick run around the block. Better than nothing. So always something is better than nothing. The second one is enhance. So always try to aim for doing at least the same as you did the day before or the last time you did it, or better. That way you're always progressing and always moving forward. It's really, really important that we feel like we're progressing in what we're doing and challenging our bodies and challenging our minds to do more and get better at the skills that we're trying to enhance within ourselves. The third one, and this is probably the most critical one, is consistency. And that goes across life in general, but consistency here. So we say 4 to 6 days per week will create the lasting change that you want. So minimum 4 and up to 6, of course, have a day off, you know, along the way. And when it comes to exercise, I only train 4 days a week. So, you know, make sure that you're getting the balance you need, but try to make sure that it's a minimum 4 to 6, so you're being consistent and it becomes something that a part of who you are. The fourth one is explore, create variety. I mean, there's nothing worse than doing the same old things and then getting bored with it or getting too good at it so that you're no longer challenging yourself, you're no longer growing. So create variety, explore different ways of getting the same outcomes and growing in your practice of diet, rest, meditation, and exercise. And the last one is to become. And I nearly touched on it with consistency, but become a person who does this, not just somebody who's trying it out. Make it part of the fabric of who you are. And if you can apply any of these to your Dr. Me practice, essentially you are going to feel so much more capable, so much more ready, as if you were in an attack position, ready to launch at whatever life throws at you. So that's why we focus on it as such a fundamental principle within the framework in Secret Sauce. Now, here's another interesting thing. We call this a cycle of growth, and I want to share with you, a little bit about what this means, because again, as I said during my story, what we focus on is what we get. And more than that, when we never give up, we will always win. Now, if you look at this cycle of growth, you can see there's 2 versions of it. One is a cycle of growth, and that is never-ending expansion. The second is a cycle of demise, which is a contraction cycle, and it ultimately will eventually lead to nothing. It'll whittle down to 0. Now, if you look through this, we've got action in the quadrants. We can take action, which leads to a result, which leads to giving us some kind of new evidence, proof, and then from there, we get to create a new belief. And so the cycle goes. Now, if you look at this, where we start with action, you've got massive action or you've got minor action. That is something we can influence. Then we've got the result. We've got success or failure. Now, that is one thing that we do not have any influence over or any control over. We can influence by making massive action versus minor action, right? As we move into new evidence, well, we can either learn from that experience, or if it fails, we can judge ourselves on it and get really critical of ourselves. And I used to be really bad at that. And it took some training for me to go, hang on, what can I learn here? How can I grow out of this? And so the last part is then, well, what belief do we create as a result of this? That you can, that I can't, that I will or I won't. And so the real truth of the matter is, when you look at these two cycles, one that's going to like expand you exponentially to infinity, the other to literally nothing, the only thing that is outside of our control is the result. So 75% of this cycle of growth is actually up to us. And if you're leading yourself from the front, you start to see the world in a new way. People talk about a growth mindset. This is exactly what we talk about there. So I want to put that into context because, you know, if you're constantly putting in small amounts of effort and then getting terrible results, it's really easy to judge and then doubt your abilities from there. Whereas if you put in massive effort, and even if you fail at that point, you can still feel good about what happened so you can learn from that experience. It's really easy to stack on success. It's really easy to go, wow, I learned something great, this really worked, and off we go. But what's really hard is when we put in massive effort and it still doesn't work. So that's where we've got to flip the switch and go, okay, what do I learn from this and where will I go from here? So the cycle of growth is really, really important, and it is applicable to literally every aspect of life. Nobody is immune here. So keep that in mind. We have 75% control over this entire model. Only 25% is what we can't. And that is just because it's the result. Nobody can control the result about anything. We can influence it by the level of effort we put in. And so the third thing here, guys, is all about legacy. And we spend a bit of time on this because it's really important to check in with yourself. And we always want to be doing our best. And this is where I realized that purpose is more important than a paycheck. Really, really important. And in Secret Sauce, we actually do this activity where we do a race against your best self. We'll kind of check in, see where we're at, because everyone gets so distracted by the day-to-day. And we sometimes don't lift our head up to kind of go, am I doing the right things for where I want to end up? You know, I'm busy doing, but is this actually where I want to go? And so the opportunity I had with the pandemic coming through was I had to lift my head up and had to ask some tough questions and had to kind of go, well, what do I want to do with my life? And who do I want to serve? And how do I want to be remembered, more importantly, when it comes to legacy? And so we do this little activity where people check in and they rate themselves against, you know, am I going to be where I see myself in the long term, or am I not? And how do I know then where I should point the arrow, or where should I put my energy and attention to make sure I course correct and get myself back on track for where I want to be and who I want to be? And so the truth is, this concept came to light, and you can see here these two gentlemen in the mirror, one a little concerned and one, you know, loving life and impressed with himself. And this comes off, I think it was 2015, I saw a meme and it frightened the bejesus out of me. It was a meme that said, the definition of hell is arriving to your final day and coming face to face with who you could have been. And that shot an arrow straight through me. And I said, wow, do I ever want to get to that point where I haven't taken the opportunities that I should? Do I ever want to get to the point in life where I wish that I had done something that I never did and I've got this regret? And I know there's not a soul out there who would want to feel that way when they get there, but the day-to-day distracts us from realizing that one day in the future, we're going to have that opportunity, and it's our ability to take the opportunities that present to us through our life to get us to that day. So we look in the mirror and say, there you are. Not, I'm looking at a reflection of somebody else that I could have been and the potential that was missed. So I hope that that resonates with everybody, because it's so, so true. And when it comes down to it, this is all self-leadership. This is taking control of you so that the opportunities for leading a successful team, so that you can have good leadership in leading your relationship to better places, whatever it might be, these fundamental aspects will change the game for you. So Dre, that's the prezzo and the slides there for you. I hope that that's been helpful. So with that, do you have any questions?
Mate, absolute fire. Seem to be less people on at the moment. So guys, we are live. We are ready to rock and roll. Robbie, you delivering the goods as always, and I love the way that you present. You're so smooth and like charismatic. So love it.
Thanks, mate. I enjoy talking about this stuff. It's really, really important to me. I mean, the truth is we put this program together simply for the fact that, you know, all the business clients I was working with and the one-on-one clients, it all came back to this one thing. Where they were failing at the mission they were on, it came back to the self-leadership. And even in the teams that I've trained, it was rarely about the job. It was who the person is and who they want to be remembered for, how they want to approach life and how they want to lead. And so it always came back to the self. And that's how I got the most performance out of every team that I've ever worked with, is focus on this aspect, get right with you, figure out what you want, and make sure that you're not afraid to go after it. And when you take those shackles off people, all of a sudden, you know, the gates open up and people come flying out. You're a sprinter, you know what I'm talking about there, right? Out of the blocks.
Mate, and this comment from Mel, this is what resonated for me. Purpose over paycheck. Purpose over paycheck. I love that.
Yeah, it's a pretty big lesson, that one, huh?
Yeah. All right. So my questions would be, with your clients, what are those common like patterns or challenges or obstacles that you see with them?
Yeah, it's probably no surprise to people, but consistency. Now, I talked in Dr. Me about the third 5 to Thrive. It's consistency. And the reason we have that as a baseline, if you can look after yourself consistently, you're starting to train that consistency in how you show up in other areas. So the number one thing is consistency, because what tends to happen is people get excited. They get really excited. It's a new concept, or they're learning something new, or Robbie, thank you for that. And then they go ahead and do it for a day, maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe a week, maybe a month. But then distractions get back in the way and new things are coming along, and they start to put these things to the back burner, and it becomes less important to them. And all of a sudden they go, oh, the results aren't here again. And it's very easy to come back to, well, what's going wrong here for you? Because I ask one question, are these things still happening? And they go, oh, not as much as they were. Okay. So we can have the same conversation on repeat, or we can just get real with ourselves and start to do this stuff and make sure we're prioritizing it first and foremost, so that everything else falls into place for you. So consistency would definitely be the number one thing.
I love that. All right. Say if there's anyone watching like now, the replay, or listening on Spotify, and they're thinking, oh, you know, I've seen some, you know, like some awesome coaches, you know, over this weekend, you know, it's maybe something that I want to do, you know, a bit 50-50. What would you say to someone that wants to get into coaching? What would be like your advice or your guidance? Or, apart from run, don't do it.
Look, it's an interesting space, and I think there's a need for more and more of it, because let's be fair, you know, people need to know what they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know until you know. And that's something that Christy, my business partner, says regularly, and it sort of ingrains in us all. But I'd say 100% explore it. Now, the number one thing I would say really to anyone, coaches or other, is if you've got an interest or a curiosity about something, scratch the itch. The only way you're really going to truly know is by the doing, not the thinking, not the reading, because you can get concepts, but they don't really land for you until you're actually experiencing that. And wisdom comes from experience. Knowledge is one thing, but wisdom is because of experience, because you've been there, you've done it, you've got the emotional attachments or considerations for having been through it. You can't gain wisdom from reading a book. You know that. We know that. You know, it just doesn't work that way. You can get great ideas, great knowledge, things to apply so that you're armed and capable to then tackle the experience. But you've got to have the experience in order to gain the wisdom. So try it out. Try it. And if you don't like it, pivot, change. I mean, that's the journey you get on as an entrepreneur, is you just flex to the situation based on the feedback you get and the data you get and the cycle of growth. And you either expand and continue to pivot and evolve, or you go, oh, this isn't working, and so I don't think I'll do it. And you end up going down to nothing, and it's all over, show's over, and go get a job. Just over broke.
Awesome. What's the best way for people to get hold of you? And do you have any workshops, challenges, programs, and like what can people sort of jump on, or any sort of resources or?
Yeah, no worries. Well, look, we're doing an intake for Secret Sauce in August. So that's coming up. So if anyone's a little bit curious about that, then yeah, absolutely, come and join us. What we'll do is we'll probably get you a link, and that'll book in some time and allocate your slot. So if you want to book it in and just check it out, to suss it out, and then from that conversation, it'll be a conversation with me. We'll say, is this the right thing for you? Because there is a time commitment. We do it over 24 weeks, so it's important that if you want to do it and you really want to make that lasting change, that you're prepared to do that. I don't want to get people to come along and then they go, oh, I can't really do this. Like, if you're really committed and you really want to make that change, then come and check us out. So I guess you could come and see me at robbietall.com. There's a chat function. The guys will be able to get you the details there. Otherwise, find me here on Facebook or Instagram, Mr_Robbie Tall on Instagram, or just Robbie Tall here on Facebook. But send me a message, and if that's something you're interested in doing, we'll get you the details. We'll book in a call. It'll be with me. And the truth is, it's just about finding, is this the right fit? Is this the right fit for you? And if it's not, I'll be honest and tell you that. And if it is, then we'll figure out what that looks like and we can move forward from there.
Awesome. Robbie, I just want to say, because I know that we've spoken on the phone like a few times, and you were telling me about Secret Sauce, and it wasn't until the other day that I actually saw it spelt, because I thought it was like sauce, but it's actually, I saw it and I was like, that is genius. Secret from the source, from that.
Yeah, well, the truth is, within each of us is an innate ability to handle anything. Truth is, you know that. We've all had those moments where we've come out of it going, in hindsight, it wasn't that hard, but in it, that sucked. And we can do it. But with training, with understanding, with awareness, we can start to accept things for what they are. And that leads us to taking new action. That's another principle in there is awareness leads to acceptance, and then you can take new action. And if you have that fundamentally built into you, nothing can rock you as hard as it used to. So we call it secret sauce because it's really tapping into what is innate within each of us, your own secret sauce. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I love that. Firstly, just want to say a massive, huge thank you to you, because I know that you had a lot going on when I invited you on, and you're like, yeah, let me have a look. Like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this.
It's always good to catch up with you, and I love what you're doing. This stuff is really, really cool, and I'm impressed. And I think everybody watching, like, huge kudos to you for pulling this all together, and so many different coaches who've got so much to share. And behind the scenes, there's a lot going on as well. And here you are showing up for all these people and for such a great cause. So, mate, big kudos to you, and thank you again for having me. Yeah,
thank you, bro. Appreciate all the support, all the guidance, absolutely everything. I love you to bits. You enjoy your weekend. I appreciate you giving up your time. You go be amazing. Go be awesome, and I'll catch up with you really soon, mate.
Sounds great. Take care, man. See you, everyone.
See ya. All right, so that was Robbie Tall, and man, absolutely love him. A bit of a legend, not a bit of a legend, a lot of a legend. All right, so we've got 4 minutes, just waiting for Sally Lean, and we are going to lean into whatever she has to say. I've been wanting to say that all day, and I'm going to play a video. We'll play Paul Yeo's video. So he sent me that this morning. I played it once today. The sound works. So I've got the sound working on both videos, and yeah, this is just, they're both beautiful videos. This is special. So I'll play that, and then hopefully Sally will be here in time. And just to let you know, guys, if you're watching live on LinkedIn, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, you are more than welcome to ask any questions. If the Facebook users can go to restream.io and connect your Facebook up to the Restream, and then we'll be able to see your face and your comments when you say something. And I think that is about it. So let's play this video. All right, here it is. So it goes for about 2 minutes.
Come on, Soph. All around the monkey bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey patch was all in blood. Up goes the weasel. All around the monkey bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey patch
Girl. Come on, mommy's the ball. That's right, you need to walk yourself.
Gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Good girl.
Row your boat gently down the stream.
Say hi to it.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Love that. Absolutely love that. All right, that is why we're all here, for Sophie and Holly. I love that we've got 98, actually 96 coaches. We've also got a real estate agent and another legend that's in IT. So actually, Sally, who's coming up now, she's actually doing 2 sessions. I think she's doing one right now and then one a bit later on. Absolutely love Sally, like to bits. We've caught up a few times, and man, there's just so many incredible, phenomenal humans. Let Sally out here. I give a big, massive, warm welcome, Sally. And just remember, everyone, we're going to lean in on this one. Hey, Sally, how are you? Can you hear me? I can see you smiling. Can you hear me? All right, I can't hear you.
Okay,
Oh,
yes.
yep.
And can you
Good,
hear
got
me
you.
now? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, just want to say,
Great. Thank you, Dre.
you are so welcome. Just want to say a massive thank you to you for coming on, and also for doing 2 spots. I think it's you and Nico. Actually, I think Nico's actually given up one of her spots, but she's donated like $100. So just really appreciate you.
Oh.
So are you going to share any slides today, or you just good to go, or?
No, not for this one. Yeah, not for this one. So thanks.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Just going to
Awesome. All right.
speak
Well,
with confidence.
Love it. All right, I'm gonna watch from backstage. If you need me, just yell out, and I'll see you in
All
about
right.
20 minutes.
At the other side. Yeah, thank you, Dre. What an amazing opportunity to be here with everyone today. Thank you, Dre, for this amazing platform, so that we get to make a difference, as coaches for other coaches and for whoever, might be listening in today, as well as making a difference for this incredible charity, opportunity that you've set up for Angelman syndrome and for Rett syndrome. So, and making a difference for those 2 families. The research that will be done following the fundraising today. So yeah, if anyone is listening and hasn't donated yet, please jump onto the link that's appearing on the screen. And whatever you can afford, it all helps. So, okay. So my name is Sally Lean, and I have, stepped into the world of coaching this year, and I help disillusioned professionals get the clarity and confidence needed to design and step into the future that they want. We all know who are in jobs or in careers that are maybe not all that fulfilling, but don't quite have the confidence to really step into new opportunities because of lots of reasons. You know, we all have, you know, many people have mortgages to pay. You got to worry about paying the bills. We all have to take care of ourselves. Thanks, Brett. It's so great to be here today, you. And so I actually draw on many years of experience as a teacher and a trainer and a mentor in the field of school education. I worked in international schools for many years. So I'm a language specialist by original trade. And so I've worked as a teacher and a teacher trainer, mentor for many teachers. I'm a fluent speaker of Chinese, Mandarin. 我的中文名字叫林莎莉. And I've lived in Asia for 22 of the last 30 years. So I've led and managed small and large teams of educators all over the world. And I'm really privileged, I guess, to be able to be so of being able to be inside another culture other than our own is really, really amazing experience as well. So having lived and worked across 4 in the last couple of years of COVID, there's another pandemic that's got a grip on the world, and that is lacking confidence and really get stopped by that in life. I just wanted to take a minute to do, you know, clarify what it said. And here's what it said. It says that confidence is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something. And it's the telling, or the second part of it is the telling of private matters or secrets with mutual trust. So, you know, so if I asked you to define confidence, you may not come up with exactly all of those details. But if I asked you, you know, can you look back and remember a time in life, maybe recently or maybe, you know, a while back, when you felt confident about something? You know, I mean, obviously there's lots of things that we're confident about every day. We know we can, you know, drive the car or walk or take the train to work, whatever it is that we do. We know lots of things, but it's sort of that feeling of actually being conscious of feeling confident about something. And I'm sure, so if you have, if you're watching and you've had that experience, can you type if you have, I'm really confident about something? Are you reading this? Okay, hopefully, yeah.
Hey, Sally. Yeah, my internet is a bit really shaky, so I can't hear you very well. It keeps cutting in and out. I think it's just, yeah, because I keep getting warnings it should be. But yeah, I'm watching the screen for you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, so thinking about feeling confident, it's really important that we have that, you know, that sense of having been confident in life. So when we think about what confidence is not as well, it's also important. So confidence is not arrogance. You know, we've all probably had experience with people who are arrogant versus being confident. And it is not false bravado. False bravado is like a front that we put up, and it's just a fake front. You know, and then, although we do talk about fake it till you make it, but that's actually a process of getting from one state to another. But false bravado is just a fake front that's there, and it's not leading to anything else. And one thing to really note is that what confidence is not a lack of self-doubt or insecurity. People who are confident still have to deal with that. They still have self-doubt. They still have insecurities that they deal with. If you think of high-level sports people, of course, they're going to have some self-doubt. They're going to have some, you know, real insecurity that they have to deal with, especially as they level up, you know, at each level that they achieve in their sport. They really have to deal with that. So that's why they have a coach. You know, they have high performance coaches to help them, and they also speak up and get it dealt with quickly. Instead of letting, you know, some sort of insecurity fester, they get it dealt with, they get some help, they get, you know, they'll have a session, deal with that, and then reframe back into their positive, like their goal that they have for their personal best or the win that they're working on that's coming up for them. and of course, like, you know, I've been everywhere on the confidence spectrum as well. We move in and out, you know, and on a daily basis and, you know, moment to moment almost in the confidence spectrum. But it self-awareness is really important. So if you stop and think about babies, when babies are born, they don't pop out wondering if they're confident enough to do this thing called life. They're just doing what they do. They come out with survival skills, and that's what they do. And gradually their reflexes and their, you know, all of their abilities develop over time. And then if anyone's ever had, you know, their own young person, little baby in the house, or if you've ever seen one, you might have come across them in life, you know, there's little short things run around. When they start to be able to crawl, and then they start to pull themselves up on the furniture, you know, and they're really, you know, they're starting to develop their sense of balance. They're not, you know, pulling themselves up thinking, oh, do I have enough confidence to do this? Do I have enough confidence to be able to pull myself up? They're just trying it. They're doing it, right? And so you know, they get up and they maybe start to try to take a few steps. They fall down, like, you know, and they get up again. They're just doing what they're doing. They're not having a debate in their head if they have enough confidence or if they've got enough skills to be able to do that. They just do it. So kids are doing their kids things, and they really are, you know, and they're very curious, right? Little kids, and they go when they start talking and they start thinking a lot, they start asking why, and then they're just, you know, sort of curious and trying things out in life. You know, they put their Superman outfit on, or they put their Wonder Woman outfit on, and they are that character. They're not pretending to be, like, you know, in their world. We call it, as adults, we say, oh, look at them, you know, pretending to be Superman. In that moment when they're really doing that, they are for themselves. They are Superman. They are Wonder Woman. Right. And so they're doing it. They're being it. I mean, I watch kids and have seen kids in the playground, like full on, you know, believing that they're slaying aliens that are coming to, you know, to get them. And in that moment, that's really what they're doing. So that state of imagination and everything else. But as we get older, things start to happen. And then we start, you know, things happen, and we start to add meaning, and we start to make some decisions about ourselves and about life. And it's usually around danger. You know, you're playing in the yard, you're playing full on, you're playing ball, and next thing the ball, you know, gets kicked off, and you run out into the street, and somebody says, stop, right? And you suddenly become aware of, like, oh, yeah, okay, there's a car coming. But, you know, it just, in that moment of chasing after your ball, you weren't even aware of those sort of things going. So you suddenly think, oh, actually, the world's a bit of a dangerous place. I have to pay attention. Oh, I better not do that. You know, maybe I shouldn't go near the road anymore, you know, as a child, those sort of things. So we start to experience different things. So, you know, there you are as you go off to school, and, you know, you're in school, and maybe by the time you're in grade 2 or 3, you might have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So you have this lens of, well, now I'm someone because I've got me a boyfriend or I've got me a girlfriend, and you walk around holding hands. You know, it's very serious when you're in grade 3 or 4. You know, it's very serious to have this boyfriend or girlfriend. You're holding hands. It's very important. It's kind of a status symbol, right? And then next thing you know, they break it off with you, and they're holding hands with the cutest girl or boy in the class. And so you have this this kind of lens now that you see the world of, like, oh, maybe I'm not really actually quite as attractive or lovable as I thought. And then, you know, you're going along, and you have well, if you're anything like me, you have a maths test at some point at school, and you don't do well in the maths test, and you're not really understanding what's going on. So you think, right. So then you have this other lens that you've put on now that you, like, I'm not good at maths. That's awesome. You know, something. And then you have your teenage, your first teenage love maybe, and that doesn't work out, and then you end up breaking up. Maybe you've got to go away to college or university, and so then you've got another lens on. Oh, yeah, excellent. I'm not actually. I have proof and evidence that I'm really not lovable because my other, you know, teenage love's broken up with me. And then, you know, at university something happens. You get really challenged. Maybe you fail an assignment or you fail a test. And yeah, that's really great. So then you have these other opinions about yourself, and this is the way that you're seeing the world. I mean, fantastic. Here am I graduating from university. I'm ready to take on the world. It's not very clear, I have to say. So, you know, so no wonder we have issues with confidence when we have all these lenses that we've gathered over time. Like, you know, we're just adding all of these different filters in the way that we see the world. And those lenses or those filters become our limiting beliefs. Oh, so that's how we're sort of creating the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and maybe about the world around us. So today I want to share some hacks for you. So hacks for confidence. So start with your strengths. We all know some things that we're good at. So start there and look where you have mastery and see what you can do to develop even more mastery in that area and really become, have it become something that you're confident in. So when people ask, you say, oh yeah, here's my strengths. These are the things that I'm good at. These are the way that I prefer to operate. And we also, obviously, the flip side of that, we all have our weaknesses. So you want to be focusing on maximizing the strengths, but also identifying your weaknesses, because we need to be able to address those over time. Find yourself a mentor, professional or personal, someone in your life that you know who's good in those areas where you're not so strong, and really take the opportunity to have them, to model after them, to maybe work with them if possible, ask them for their help, the feedback about stuff. So that's one hack. The second hack is power poses. Everybody's probably, many people have seen the Amy Cuddy talk from 2012 TED Talk. And she talks about power poses, standing with your arms out on your hips, like Wonder Woman, or leaning back in your chair and taking up a bit more space, with your arms up. And, and then I call this the victory pose. When you see the runners running across the finish line of a race, it's like, yes, I've done it. So really, this is quite a powerful one, because you can't be like, oh, woe is me, when you've got your arms up in the air in your victory pose. Like, hello, it changes your physiology. So I just wanted to share an example of mine. A few years ago, I was going for a really big job, an interview process for a big job. And it was pretty daunting, actually. I had the first interview was a panel of 10. And I was supposed to get the questions before, but I didn't receive them until literally about 2 minutes before I went into the room. And so, I was kind of like, panicking about that. But what I did before I went to the interview, I had gone to the bathroom, done my victory pose, which is also like, let's put it out there that we're going to get the outcome that we're looking for. Done my victory pose, done a silent yell like, yes, in the bathroom with the toilet door closed. And then off I went to the interview, found out about these questions and thought, oh my God. So the other thing that's really useful that I found is what I call them grounding buttons. So there's 2 spots, and if you're watching, do it with me. There's 2 spots just under your collarbone, and you'll notice when you get it, because they're quite tender. So those 2 spots are meridians, part of your meridians in your body. I've spent a lot of time in Asia, so understanding meridians is very important for your health. But these are really good for grounding. So if you use one hand with your fingers and your thumb on the 2 spots, put your other hand down onto your belly button so that you're creating a circuit for the energy, right, for the flow, and take a few deep breaths in and out, right? And then you'll find, and even if you just gently rub those spots as well. And for balance, I like to swap hands. So you use your other hand, and you really, I find this so incredibly empowering and grounding, right? It brings you back into yourself, centers a little bit, take some deep breaths. And so for this big interview, panel of 10, I was like shaking, and especially when I found out about these questions, like what? I wasn't prepared. I did my grounding, I did my breathing, and I walked into that room and thought, you know what? I'm going to walk in there, and whatever I need to say, I will say. And it was the similar process. I actually, went through that round, and a similar process for the next one when I met with the executive, panel 6. And again, sort of shaking like a leaf, like, oh my goodness. And, and I didn't have questions for that interview. I just walked in and went straight into speaking with the executive about whatever they raised with me. So, but I did the same thing again. I did my grounding buttons under my collarbones there, just took some deep breaths and walked in, put my hands down on the table really still and spoke. Spoke from the heart. Of course, I was prepared, but, you can't just wander in and think you're going to make something up. But, it just was such a powerful thing. So power poses, whatever it takes. And there's some different ones for men and women. So by all means, Google that and have a look. Third hack, trans talk. So I'm just getting a message that the connection is off again. Hopefully you can hear me. You know, our own inner critic is, you know, if we actually put that on loudspeaker and listened and stopped and listened to the way that we speak about ourselves, I think we would be horrified. You know, I actually used to call, when I was getting used to the idea of standing and this little voice in your head. So I actually call mine Miss Piggy, because after the Muppet character, I don't know if you've seen the Muppets, but there's a character in the Muppets called Miss Piggy, and she never had anything nice to say unless there was somebody she wanted to suck up to. So mine never has anything nice to say to me. That inner critic, just like, why do you do this? Why didn't you say that? Da, 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 da. And it, you know, this little voice has a habit of waking me up at, you know, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And it was really powerful when I learned that I actually can separate from that. That's why I gave it a name, and ask it to shut up. So, you know, like, okay, thanks for letting me know about that. I'm going to deal with that at 7 a.m. when the alarm goes off. And for now, shut up. I'm going back to sleep. So it's really important to notice how you speak to yourself. We need to really frame it positively, be aware of what we're saying. You know, and that's also part of, you know, we say fake it till you make it. But Amy Cuddy says fake it until you become it. But we can't become some new form, or, you know, a new level up for ourselves unless we are also transforming our self-talk. Okay, so fourth hack, congruency and ecology. We need to live and work in ways that align with our deepest values. And if you're not clear about, you know, what your values are and you know, and why that's, you know, what would be important for you aligned with those values, really, it's great to check in with your coach, or get a coach if you don't have one, to work with you to really get those nailed down for yourself, so you're clear on you know, how you can live and work in full alignment with you know, what's important to you. Again, I've already said capitalize on your strengths, build on your weaknesses. We also want to be striving in terms of our own personal ecology and congruency, is strive for health and wellness. Now, you know, obviously, you know, life gets busy and things happen, and we've got families and, you know, jobs and busy careers and all sorts of things that we're dealing with. And coaches, you know, it's a classic for us because there's no working hours. We're just working when we're working. Sometimes fitting it in around other things. So it's we need to be, you know, really playing a big game in life. And if we are really working on all of those areas, if we're not going to get it all exactly right all the time, but we can, you know, at least have a go at doing that. So so really it's important that we take care of ourselves first. You know, the classic example is, you know, in the plane they say put your oxygen mask on yourself first before helping others. So we need to be doing that with our health and well-being too. All right. So then the fifth hack is quit being passive. You know, and we're responsible for our own, you know, confidence, although it helps when we do have people, you know, giving us positive feedback and that sort of thing. But if you're relying on that only, it's not going to cut it. So our own, just like happiness as well, happiness and confidence are on us, on ourselves, 100%. We can't be relying on other people or on circumstances in life to make us feel happy or to make us feel confident. We have to be doing that inner work all the time. So, you know, just as an example, you know, in terms of confidence and happiness, like it's transferable. So it's the energy that you give out. I once did a little experiment. I did a smiling experiment. I consciously smiled at everybody that I walked by for 3 days, and I noticed what happened. Of course, it's an energy transfer. So guess what happens? Mostly they smiled back, but not always. So, you know, there was one person, only one in 3 days, who didn't smile back at me, and clearly she was not having a very good day. But the point is that it's an energy transference. So if you're bringing confidence, or if you need to add a bit of confidence before you're doing something important, get someone to you know, give you a warm up. Shout out to a good friend of mine who did a warm up with me this morning. Yes, you know who you are. So it's really so important that we have, you know, that we have things set up for ourselves to build our confidence and build our happiness, but we need to do that for ourselves. And someone once said to me that we have to quit hoping and stop living like you're just like holding a candle, you know, and then hoping that good things will happen, right? You're just hoping that good things will happen to you. Stop waiting to be the victim of a miracle. And those words have really stayed with me in terms of really being at cause in my life, and rather than living at effect of other people and at effect of circumstances. You know, things happen and we have to deal with it. But if we're really taking that on, then we're going to get somewhere with what we're trying to do and handle. And last but not least, I would say, or actually second last, but I've got 3 little tips for you. Lean in, lean out, and lean on. And yes, my name is Sally Lean. So there you go. And my business is called Lean In to Succeed. May as well cash in on the name, right? So lean into opportunity. Opportunities don't arise when you're sitting and you're ready and waiting for it. You know, okay, I'm here at my desk, ready for opportunities to arise. No, things happen and opportunities arise, and we need to be ready to say yes. And if we're not quite ready, we have to figure out how to make it happen. So lean into opportunity. And conversely, if things aren't feeling right, you have to be willing to lean out and say, hey, hang on a minute. This isn't working for me. This isn't quite what I imagined it would be. And so lean out and deal with it. Okay. That's also part of, you know, if anyone's in sales of any kind, you know, sharing and those sort of opportunities, we need to know when to lean in and when to lean out in those conversations. And in fact, that's actually for any conversation, isn't it, when you think about it? And lean on, the third lean. So lean into opportunity, lean out when it's not quite right, and lean on your coach, lean on your friends, lean on trusted ones for help and for constructive feedback, and you know, so that you can keep on growing. All right. And the last point that I wanted to share is that we need to have not just dreams, but actual goals in our future. So what's the difference? Dreams are like something that we maybe hope will happen. That would be nice. You know, we all dream of winning the lottery, right? But goals are something that we put out into the future. We set a goal, a target for ourselves, and then we need to actually work backward from there and design the steps that we need to get from here where we are now to there, because otherwise what it is just a carrot on a stick. And every time we get closer, the dream gets further away if it's just a dream. So we need to write it down. We need to have it set in, you know, SMART goals. We talk about SMART. It needs to be a set in time. You might have a 1-year goal, 2-year goal, 5-year goal, and then a 10-year goal, and maybe some bigger dreams out there in the future that we can take steps toward right now in the here and now. But you need to connect it to your present. It's not just something that's out there and just going to circle out there in the future and never come to fruition. Really connect it back with your steps and your plan from how to get from here to there. Now, if you're not sure and you're not clear about what you want or how to make that happen, that's what we coaches are for. That's what we're here for. So reach out and get some help with that, because you need to have some goals and dreams out there in your future that are strong enough to get you out of bed in the morning. You can't be getting out of bed just to go and earn money to pay the bills, because that is soul destroying. If we want to be alive and really living life, lean in, get those goals out in your future and really go for it. So thank you all. And thanks, Dre, for this opportunity. Thanks for listening in. Appreciate you all. What a superstar you are, Dre.
Sally, do you like American football?
Not really a fan, but I know a little about it. Tell me why.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that was a touchdown. What you just delivered was a touchdown. So what I loved, because when you were going through the power poses before job interviews, I used to do go into the toilets, do the power pose, and one that I do, which is a new one, which I learned last week or the week before, is just doing, I think you mentioned it, like the victory, like you put both hands up in the air doing like the V, and just and it feels really good. It feels really good.
I've actually added
That's
that to
it.
my morning routine. I get out of bed and go, yes.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. So
Yeah.
so powerful. Yeah. Great topic, confidence, which is so
Thank
important.
you.
And I love that you said, like even confident people still suffer from, you know, like self-doubt and insecurities, which is so true.
Yeah, that's a condition of
So,
being human, right?
yeah. Also, I
Yeah.
just want to say a massive thank you, and we get the opportunity and the bonus of seeing you again in a few hours. So
4:30 this afternoon.
really
Yeah.
proud of you for that. Yeah. Alrighty. So, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Probably just through Facebook is the easiest way at the moment, or LinkedIn. Just my name, Sally Lean, and everybody can see my face, so you know what I look like. And yeah, so I'm just in the process of setting up a group. I'm going to have a confidence and clarity group on, you know, for people who are interested in, you know, just getting messages about that and participating and sharing about that on a daily basis. So yeah, in the process of setting that up. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, awesome. And any like seminars, workshops, masterclasses?
Coming soon.
Webinars?
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Watch this
Yeah?
space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
I do have one-to-one coaching. I've got a mini training coming out shortly, all about confidence. Interestingly enough.
Oh.
So yes. So
Yeah.
and then there'll be a training about clarity to follow that. So yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Am I able to jump in on the one on confidence? Is that
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. All right.
You enjoy the next few hours, and also thank you for absolutely everything. And I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah, for sure. I'll save my dad joke for this afternoon.
Or unless you want to get another one, we can sneak it in.
Sneak it in. All right. Well, you know, this week there's been a big super moon, right? The full moon this week.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I just want to ask you if you know how the moon cuts his hair.
Oh no, Sally.
He clips it.
I can take a guess.
All right. Totally daggy. Had to come up with something, didn't I?
Thank you. All right. So that was Sally, and I love that she was saying lean in, lean out, which is what it's all about. And my next guest, Annie Burke. So I'm trying to think when we connected, it might have been towards the beginning of this year or even maybe last year. And I've been wanting to get her on the podcast because I'm so like fascinated about what she does. And it's, I'm really excited that she's coming on here to deliver a masterclass, and I call her the Animal Whisperer. And I'm so glad that she's going to be able to share, because a lot of the people you might have noticed are very, very spiritual. So a lot of coaches out there are very spiritual, and business you might hear is a spiritual game. So finally, I get to speak to the wonderful, the sensational Annie Burke.
Hi, Jay. Thanks
Hey,
for
how are
that
you,
fabulous
superstar?
introduction.
You are so welcome. I want to say, yeah, thank you for giving up your time, to share, and also like to contribute on so many like different levels. And I'm excited about this because because I wanted to catch up with you and just find out all about it. So, do you need to share some slides at all at some point?
Yes. Do you want me to do that now?
No, it's up to you. I can tell you where it is, or I can walk
I
you
can
through
see
it.
the
So,
share screen button.
and that's it's very similar to Zoom. So you just do what you normally would do on Zoom, and then I'll see the screen at the side, and I'll just press on it, and it will take it into the middle.
Okay.
All right. I will leave you to it. Let me know if you need anything, and I'll see you in about 20-ish minutes.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Sorry, Joe, I'm just having trouble getting my
That's all right.
screen up.
Yeah, so you got the options to share entire screen or window.
I've got my now I've just lost you completely.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Are you using one screen or two screens?
I should just be using one, but for some reason I can't get the PowerPoint to come up and show as an option on the share screen.
Okay, what about if could you minimize both so they're both on the same screen, and then press the share entire screen, and then you can drag the PowerPoint once it's sharing.
Oh, no, it's not coming up.
Let's see. All right, so yeah, there we go. Yep, leave it like that. Leave it there.
Can you see that now? Oh, I had it. That's the screen
Yeah, I
there
can
I
see
want
that.
to
Yeah.
share. You can see it?
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. Can you make that? There we go. There we go.
You can see it. Fabulous. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. As Dre said, I'm going to be a little bit different to some of the coaches that you've been seeing because I'm an animal communicator and an animal medium. So I help transform people's lives through enriching their relationship with their animals. So I've been talking to animals who are living and animals in spirit for over 10 years now. And I connect with animals through photographs, and then I can tune into their energy and have a conversation with them and answer questions for their humans about all sorts of different things. I'm also a clairvoyant, a claircognizant, and a clairsentient, which means that I can see things, I know things, and I can feel things. The feeling things is really helpful with animals because I can ask them to let me feel what they're feeling on a physical level and also on an emotional level, which means that can help sort out what they need to have to help with their healing journey. I'm also a healer, so I do distance healing for humans and animals. And I've discovered in my conversations that sometimes our animals actually take on some of our health issues for us, even though we haven't asked them to do that. They love being of service for us. So sometimes both the animal and the human need healing support. I've also published 2 books which are available on Amazon as ebooks or paperbacks. And last year I started my own podcast show called What Animals Tell Me, because they do tell me such amazing stories, and I just love sharing their stories and their wisdom with the world. So I do have some key messages for those of you who are animal parents, and some of these may be new facts for you. I've had a number of years now to adjust to the new concepts that animals have taught me, and I know you're going to get a crash course into some of the things that they have taught me, but I would just ask that you keep an open mind about some of the things that I'm going to be discussing with you. And I'd also like to acknowledge the animals and their parents whose images appear in my presentation as well. So the most important thing for you to know is that animals understand everything that we say. Because they have free will, they decide if they want to obey us or not. So if we say don't jump on the table, they will decide whether they want to jump on the table or not, but they definitely hear what we say. They also get affected by the energy of the words we say. So every word we say carries a vibrational frequency. And if we talk about negative issues in our animal's presence, or if we call them a derogatory name or derogatory nickname, that affects them on an emotional level. So it's really important, if you are going to be talking about something negative, to try and do that away from your animal. And if you want to call them an endearing nickname, try and pick something that is polite and that they will like. One of the things they absolutely love is for us to talk to them as though we're having a normal conversation. So even though you may not be able to understand what's happening when they're talking back to you, they know that you know that they understand. and that makes a huge difference for them, and that can see a change in your relationship just by changing the way that you have a conversation with them. They're very intelligent and very intuitive. And I've had a lot of people say to me, oh, you know, they're just a pet. They might understand no, and they might understand walk. Well, I'm here to tell you that they have a very sophisticated understanding of English. I spoke with a cat who was splashing his water out of his water bowl, which a lot of them do, and his mum wanted to know why he was doing it. And so I asked, and he told me. And then I said, would you like to tell mum anything else? And he said, does she want an existential expose on the physics of displacing a volume of water? Now, I just listened to that and thought, wow, okay, he totally understands that he is displacing a volume of water when he's flicking his water out of his water bowl, but I wasn't expecting him to express it like that. So I thought he may have been a science teacher in a previous lifetime. I spoke to a horse recently who'd run into an electric fence, and unfortunately he's damaged himself on his chest, but he's recovering. But he said to me, oh, it was shocking. Now, he totally understood the pun on the word shocking, and although he was in pain, his sense of humour was intact. So it's just incredible what they know and how they can express what they want to say. So for me, every conversation, I now have to expect the unexpected because I don't know what they're going to tell me. But they've certainly got senses of humour. They've all got different voices just like humans, and it's just a revelation finding out what they want to let their humans know. So they're also very responsive to our vibrational changes. We all vibrate at a certain frequency, and when we get sick, our frequency level drops. Our animals know, and often they're conscious of it before us because they're so sensitive to it. So they will come and be a lot more affectionate and a lot more attentive because they want us to get better as soon as possible. The other thing is that there's no coincidence that your animal is with you. They're in your life for a reason, and it's absolutely fascinating finding out why. Now, we can all communicate with animals when we're children. So the communication I'm talking about is telepathic communication. So you hear their voices in your head, nothing is said out loud. But as little children, our communication channel is open. And so you'll see little kids like the little girl in the middle photo squatting down, talking to the animal. And they'll tell you exactly what the animal is saying. But a lot of adults just think, oh yes, that's very nice, dear, and not really understand that they're telling the truth. Now, animals are very intuitive, particularly horses, so they will know who needs to have healing, and they're very gifted healers, so they will transfer that healing energy to people. And I really love the photo on the right with the little boy connecting with the cat, and I love seeing animals doing that to each other as well, particularly lions, and it's as though they're connecting their third eye energetic centre to each other, and it's a very honouring way to connect with someone. So just beautiful images. So our animals are trying to communicate with us all the time, and when we don't know how to communicate with them telepathically, they have to rely on body language or vocalizations or staring at us with a certain look in their eyes or changing their behaviour just to let us know that something isn't quite right. So often they're trying to tell us how happy they are and being very affectionate with us, and they love being told that we love them. So even if your animal is not very affectionate, they will respond to hearing those messages from you. Sometimes there are things that happen in the house that change the frequency of what's going on, and that can affect our animals. So if we bring home a new animal, sometimes our animals think that they've been upsetting us somehow and we don't love them as much, and we've had to go and buy a new animal to love. So it's really important that we do explain to them what's happening. Same if you bring home a baby or a new partner, visitors, moving house, all sorts of things can affect our animals. So the more that we can explain to them what's happening, the calmer they're going to be and the less stress you're going to cause. They also are very caring about us and very concerned about our well-being. So they'll know exactly what's going on for us. And they love being involved in what we're doing. We are their world. So anything that happens to us, they want to know and they want to be part of. They thrive on having routine with us. So if we change the routine and take them for a walk at a different time of day, that might upset them a bit. But if we tell them why, then that helps. And particularly if your animal gets separation anxiety, if you can tell them that you're going out to the shops for an hour and then you'll be back, they understand it, and that will help them calm down. And similarly, if you're going on holiday, you can say, look, I'm going away. I'll be away for 5 sleeps. This person is coming to look after you, and then I'll be home. And that really helps with that separation as well. So there's so many fascinating things animals have taught me. They come into our lives for a particular reason. So some of them are here to be healers, like my beautiful boy here. Some of them are here to be teachers, like my 2 cats who were my first teachers when I started animal communication. And they've taught me that once animals pass over, their souls can visit us on an energetic level. So my girl, when she came back, used to meow, so I'd hear her vocalise. And my boy used to play with my hair, which is what he did as a kitten. And so many clients have said that they've seen their animals. So even though they no longer have a physical body, somehow they have the technology to put on a temporary physical body so they can come back and reassure us that they're okay. So some people have felt their animals patting them or brushing a tail against them, felt them jumping up on the bed, lying on them near the bed. They do what they can to reassure us that their soul has transitioned safely. They know that we're grieving and they can't come and physically comfort us. So visiting us energetically is a way that they can support us. They've also taught me the amazing evidence of soul reincarnation, which I had no knowledge of till my girl Riley, who was one of my teachers, suddenly passed away one day. She wasn't sick, and it was such a huge shock. And so I wasn't sure how long I'd have to wait before I could connect with her when she passed over, but I was able to talk to her on the same day. And I said, what did you do that for? And she said, oh, I needed a new body, in a tone like that, as though, isn't that what everybody does? And she said, stop being so sentimental, I'm coming back. And my other cats weren't grieving, they weren't pining, they weren't off their food, they knew exactly what was going on, and she's come back. She told me what she was going to look like, very similar mannerisms. And this is what I've found now with a lot of our clients. Not every animal does come back in our lifetime, but a lot do. And they seem to know just before they pass over, or when they have passed over, that there's a body that they can come back to their humans in. So sometimes they look very similar, sometimes very different, but they will let me know what breed they're going to be, what gender they're going to be, and what colour they're going to be. So I spoke to this lovely girl cat called Geisha in spirit, and she was determined to come back as a dog because she felt she was missing out on a lot of the family activities by being a cat. And so she told me she was going to come back as a terrier, and she was going to be a boy, and she wanted to be called PAIGE. And so this is her now in her dog body. She came back to her family in May, and she's just walked back into the house knowing where everything is. She knows who all her humans are. She's played with some of her cat toys. She's played with some of her new dog toys. One of the things she can't do in a dog body is jump up on the bed to go to sleep with her humans. So she just had to stand there with her paws on the edge of the mattress looking hopeful so that they will pick her up. But she's come back as a dog, and she's really happy being a dog. And yes, we can connect with animals in spirit. So I've spoken with a dog who passed over more than 20 years ago. So there's no time limit on connecting with an animal. They have taught me that the souls endure. So this lovely cat here was actually blind. And when I spoke to him in spirit, his mum had a lot of questions for him, which he was happy to answer. And then at one stage he said to me, Rumpelteazer. And I thought, what's Rumpelteazer? And I thought maybe he's saying Rumpelstiltskin and I haven't heard him properly, but that didn't make sense with the conversation. So I thought I must be hearing things. Continued the conversation, and then he said it again very clearly. So I messaged his mum and said, was he ever called Rumpelteazer? And there was silence for a while, and I thought, oh, she's probably going to think I'm crazy. And then she said, oh, I'd forgotten all about that. And when she rescued him, he was actually living with a dog called Rumpel, and he used to get in trouble for teasing the dog, so he got Rumpelteazer. But he couldn't even see the dog because he was blind. But that was his way of telling me and telling his mum that I was definitely connected to his soul in spirit. And that's what I've discovered now in these mediumship conversations, that our animals will give me a code word, which makes absolutely no sense to me, but will let their parents know that I'm definitely talking with them. And as a healer, I also support healing, distance healing for animals. I use a combination of crystals and aromatherapy and Reiki. And this is one of my lovely clients who is supposed to be having orthopedic surgery for some genetic conditions and some fractures. We made up this big grid, which my cats helped me energise, and sent him lots of distance healing. And on the day of his surgery, the surgeon rang his mum and said, "We don't need to operate, everything has completely healed." So that was an absolute miracle, but I'm very open to miracles and very impressed with the power of positive thinking and prayers to help support healing. And these are messages from my animals about what it means to be able to communicate once they've gone over the rainbow bridge. So it supports healing for us and for our animals. It means that they've always got an opportunity to be able to send messages and send messages of gratitude for us being their humans. And so one of my boy cats described it as an eternal conduit of connection, that we can always tune into them. For those animals who have come into our lives to be teachers for us, it means that they can still keep teaching us from the other side. So it's helping fulfill our destiny and theirs. And it gives them lots of joy being able to connect with us. And as part of our spiritual journeys, it helps with the evolvement of our hearts, which is one of the things that happens to us. And being able to talk with our animals and being able to experience life with our animals is very important for our heart evolvement. And it's also a gift of peace, being able to always connect with our animals, so there really is no separation. Now, how can you connect on a deeper level with your animal? So you can listen to my podcast show, which is called What Animals Tell Me, which is available on podcast platforms, including Spotify. I also have a free Facebook group called Understanding Your Animals, and you're welcome to message me and join that. I do offer free masterclasses a couple of times a month, and I'll put the details of the next masterclass in the chat. The next masterclass is next Sunday, the 24th of July, and I'll be talking about how can you talk with animals in spirit. So you're very welcome to join that. I'd also encourage you to read my book, The Bridge to Animal Consciousness, which will help raise your consciousness about animals. So if you'd like to find out more about connecting with your animal, I'm happy for you to contact me to arrange a complimentary Zoom chat, because I love talking to people about their animals and finding out how I can help you and help them. So you can either message me or contact me on my email. You can also visit my website and find out some more information about my services. So my animal communication sessions involve you asking up to 6 questions for 1 to 2 animals, and I'll ask a bonus question finding out what they want to tell you. I also have a couple of programs, including an animal mediumship program to help bereaved animal parents navigate through the grief process and come to a place of peace and peace of mind with the passing of their animal. And I'm about to launch my animal communication mentoring program, which will be working with animal parents one-on-one for up to 3 months to help them master the skills and knowledge to be able to talk to your own animals. And it's just incredible when you hear your own animal's voice in your head for the first time. So thank you so much for listening, and hopefully I've stimulated a lot of thought in your minds, and you'll probably go home and look at your animals in a totally different way now, because they do understand everything that you're saying. But if anyone's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer those now.
Hey, Annie, that was amazing. I've got so many questions. I don't think we're going to have enough time for all of my questions. For those of you guys that are... So what I was thinking while you were presenting is that we'll have to do a proper podcast, like me and you, because I've got so many questions.
Oh, that was just
yeah.
Brett saying amazing. Yeah, I'm just in awe of the wisdom that they've shared with me, and I just feel it's my duty to help share that wisdom with the world and let people understand their animals on a whole new level. And that is my life mission, to raise global awareness of the importance of animals, so people know they have a soul, they understand what we're saying, and that they're with us for a reason.
Yeah. All right. So my questions are: are you like intuitive and psychic with humans as well? So yeah,
Yes,
both.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so I can do mediumship with humans, but I'm focusing more on the animals because there's less animal communicators. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, so I was dog sitting. So I've got a friend that lives down the road, and I was dog sitting and house sitting for a couple of weeks. And she's got like a little dash hound, a sausage dog, like cute. And it was when we were looking in each other's, it was like I'd known her before, and it was just really, it's just weird. It's just really deep.
Yep, I'm getting
Can't explain it, but
confirmation
she's
that you know.
special.
Yep, I'm getting confirmation. I'm going buzzy all over that you know the soul in that dog. That's no coincidence. So your intuition is spot on. And that's what I found in a number of conversations, that our animals may have had past lives with us. And for those of you who are open to past lives, sometimes our animals have been humans with us in a previous lifetime, and sometimes they've been an animal with us. And so again, unraveling all those soul
I was
connections
going to ask you
has
that
been
question.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I'll have to tell you more another time about it. It's just, yeah, so after you.
No, you go.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have to tell you more about it another time. So it'll just be interesting to see how things develop. So I'll tell you more on that. All right, so we've got a couple of minutes. And so how did you get into it? How did that all happen? And
Yep.
yeah, after you will. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So as long as I can remember, I've always thought that my animals could understand everything that I say, and I just wish that I could understand them. And I used to say, I wish I could speak cat. And I had a little ginger girl cat who suddenly passed away after a very short illness. And I just felt as though I'd really missed an opportunity to get to know her and find out what was really going on. So that inspired me to look for an animal communication course. And I found one, and the image of the cat on the front of the website looked exactly like my cat, even the same blotch marks on the face. And I thought, wow, there's a big sign. This is what I'm supposed to do. So my two cats that I had at the time, Paddy and Riley, became my very patient teachers. And I had to do a lot of exercises, practicing with them, sending things. So you can hear the voices in your head, so you can hear the verbal answers, but they can also send images, and they can also send little video snippets. And I don't understand the advanced thought technology transference of sending a video. But if I don't understand what they're saying, I ask them to show me, and then I end up with little videos in my head. So it's just something that's just changed my whole understanding of reality now, because I had no idea any of this could happen like 10 years ago. But it's just what I accept as normal now, which sounds strange for everyone else listening for the first time. But this is just what I experience on a daily level. And there's a lovely movie called A Dog's Purpose, and that describes what I experience with animals who come back and they reincarnate, and it's the absolute truth. And it's just amazing to recognize the souls. And yes, you miss the animal who's departed, but there's this huge sense of excitement and anticipation to see what you're going to recognize about them when they come back again. And that's such a beautiful part about having conversations, is giving the bereaved animal parents the hope and the knowledge that their animal is coming back to them.
So just on that, most of your clients, are they spiritual? Are they like healers? Because I'd imagine that there's only, really?
No, what I call them is conscious animal parents. So they need to understand that their animal has a soul and be open to the fact that I can communicate. But no, a lot of them aren't healers. They're not coaches.
Oh,
They're
wow.
just
That's really
everyday
interesting.
people you might see walking down the street, all sorts of different backgrounds, all age ranges, but just really aware that there's some connection with their animal that they just can't explain, and they just want to find out more about what's going on.
I love that. I wasn't expecting you to say that, because I was thinking it'd mostly be sort of like spiritual people that kind of understand that. That is awesome.
I
Yeah.
think being spiritual or on their awakening journey, it makes it easier for them to start learning how to communicate. But yes, understanding that their animal has a soul and being open to the fact that I can communicate with them is really important. Yeah.
Love that. Right, Annie, we're going to have to get you back.
Yep.
What was I going to say? What's the best way to get hold of you?
So I'll put some comments in the Facebook page and the LinkedIn page afterwards. So my email address is chintuitive@bigpond.com. So that's the best way, but I'll share my website as well. And then I'm happy to have a Zoom chat with people and just talk about what their issues are and how I can possibly help them deepen their relationship with their animal.
Brilliant. Annie, just want to say a massive, huge thank you to you for giving up your time to sharing, what you do, because I've been interested for a while. I'm glad that you're able to share and supporting the cause as well. And it's been really special. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity, and I'm glad to contribute, but also happy to help animal parents to better understand their animals. Yeah, thank you, and have a great birthday
Annie.
tomorrow.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'll be in touch, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. See ya. All right, so that was Annie Bourke. I call her the Animal Whisperer. So, legends, we have 2 minutes until we've got Mr. George NAUGLE. So we've known each other for several months, and we've caught up. And he was I think the first person to seed the idea of working with coaches. Right. Because I think, it would have been towards the end of last year. Yeah, he was like, Dre, can I can I just give my opinion? I was like, yeah, go for it. He was like, why don't you think about working with coaches, because you know everybody and like everybody knows you. And he was right. It feels right, like working with coaches. So thank you, George. All right, let's get him out here. So I want to give a big, massive welcome to George NAUGLE. Hey, legend. I can't hear you. I think you might have to change your settings. So see at the bottom on the right hand side, there's like a little kind of mechanical wheel. You see that? Yeah. So if you click on that, then you'll get a pop-up box that will say settings. And on the left-hand side, it will say general video audio. And if you go down to audio, there we go. All over it. How are you, buddy?
Hey, mate. It's an honor to be fantastic. From Rhett and Angel Man helping our buddy Paul Yao. It's just freaking phenomenal what you've done here.
Yeah,
That's all you, bud.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been an awesome team effort, with everybody involved, and it's I love how we've all come together. We're raising money. It's incredible, and there's just so much value that everybody's giving. All right, so George, do you need to use slides? Do you? Or
Slide? I'm just teasing. No, I don't need to use slides.
No, yeah.
That actually reminds me of Billion slang goes all around the world, right? We get the slang. One slang, a guy said shrimp on a Barbie, but for a Canadian to have a shrimp on a Barbie doll.
Yeah, shrimp's pretty small.
A shrimp on a Barbie doll. Barbie.
Yeah. Yeah. So so you're really delayed. I've got you're pretty delayed on my side. So I'm just wondering if it's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
All
right.
The people here, why I'm even authority does this guy have to speak? And I started a IT in 1980, and it's fresh. I was green, about as green, and I kept that business for years. are we still alive here? I'm not sure what happened. Anyway, I'll just...
Yeah, I'm letting you do your thing. You do your thing. I'll be back in about 20-ish minutes to ask some questions.
Okay. Probably wondering who this guy is and, you know, how to speak. Well, I started my business at 4 years old. The first one was actually an IT, and then I sold that business after about 7. I really loved computers, so I got into computers. And to keep this story short, I found that three things that happened to me. A program called F.O.C.U.S, and F.O.C.U.S stands for create, you unshakable or unstoppable, sustain. So that's basically going to get in the way of you actually accomplishing that a little bit later. But in most businesses, three things, and is that things have changed, customers changed, different reasons, and what they forget to create another dream. In a company, it's called a vision, because they've already for that vision. So a new one, and then the second type of business owner, it's too involved in the shiny objects. It actually says SOS, they need help. Get the help. And then the third one is the busting their ass, and they aren't getting. That's where I was. And I should have got help earlier on in my journey. I created the F.O.C.U.S program. So F.O.C.U.S is find out what you really want. Again, if you're a business owner, that would include creating a new market. I truly believe that what's the word I want to say for that? The business. The reason why I say that is that we forget what the heck we in the first place, and we stop doing it. The season, find out what that new company and life. I always say life is everything is part of life. You got everything is just life in general. And are you going to own it? Then, oh, you guys can't hear me properly.
Yeah, it's really sort of glitchy. Yeah.
Maybe I'll try a headset.
Yeah, because it's yeah, cool. Because it's like your network. It's saying that your network's good. So,
Yeah.
That's better. All right, legends. We are live on Facebook, live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube. If you're watching the replay, you know what to do. Hashtag replay. And George is just sorting out his settings because it's been a bit laggy, a bit glitchy. And if you were just tuning in, we are a team of 98, mostly coaches. I think there's one real estate agent and someone that works in IT or project management. And
how is that, Dre?
Oh, clear. There's a little bit of feedback, but that is so much better than it was.
It was, eh? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that. Go with that.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
You're
Thanks,
gonna
mate.
have to. You're gonna have to. I don't know where I left you, so.
I couldn't hear you. So, yeah, start from wherever you like. Yeah.
What was the last thing I said?
I don't know. I couldn't because you kept cutting in and out. So.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't know. I'll just start start from where I was. Okay. Okay. So I created a focus program, and the focus program starts for find, own. Now I have to do it over again. Anyway, find, own, create, which will make you unstoppable, and then the last part of it, sustain. Now, I'll get into the program after, but I found 3 areas in my own life, and I find this in every business, whether it's a seasoned professional, somebody who we'll say is a medium, and then you got, say, the beginner type. The seasoned professional will, their business will mature. They actually hit their vision hit their vision and accomplished what it was that they were doing in the first place, and they forget to create another vision and or dream of what their company is going to look like. So what ends up happening is that their business plateaus, and if they're not aware that it's plateaued, everything just is sideways, and actually, to be honest, it starts going down because they lost the drive that they originally had. And then the next thing is the shiny object syndrome. That's where a business owner will get into too many different things, forget about what it was. I call it rainmaking. Rainmaking is basically what a person does that they're really good at, that they were doing to make money in the first place. So shiny object syndrome is the second one. And then there is being green. Green as Shrek, like I was when I first started. I didn't know anything about business when I first started. So being green. So what does that look like? You're busting your ass every day, not getting anywhere, and it's a grind. It's a complete grind every day. It just sucks. You don't even want to wake up in the morning. So in those cases, you definitely got to get help if you're in there. One of my coach mentors said that we all live inside of a jar, and our label is on the outside. And because it's on the outside and we're inside the jar, we can't see it. So that's where somebody outside of us is required. But now I'd like to get into actually focus, what it means and how this program works. F, find. So find out what you really want. What does the next step look like in your business? And I like to say life, because everything is life, business life, personal life, family life. But you know what they all have in common? Life, right? So all aspects of it are important, not just business, but family, relationships with other people and themselves. So finding out what we really want is the first step. The second step is owning it. I don't know how many times I've said it to myself. I know lots of people say, oh, I really want this. And you know what? They don't do anything. They do absolutely nothing. So the second part is O for own. C, create. For a company, create a vision, a mission, a plan. And I like to throw something in that's a dream. You could call it visualization and or a dream. But that is something where you would imagine the end result with so many feelings and emotions without the details of how you'll get there, because that's what the plan's for. And I've also heard the saying that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans for the day. Because I don't know about you, but I plan things, and you know what? Honestly, they never go that way. But that's where we have to be resourceful. So you, unstoppable. Now you own it. You don't need someone pushing you and prodding you. You know, that metaphor of dragging a horse to water and trying to make him drink. You don't need that anymore. The last one, sustain. That's where we find out what may hold you back and create some kind of a plan that'll help you overcome those obstacles. So now you're focused. You found out what you want. You owned it. You created a dream, vision, mission. You're unstoppable. And you have a plan to sustain it. So that's what I found in business so far that's helped me. I got to tell you a little story, I guess. Yeah, it looks like I have time. I have to tell you a little story. I created a dream in 2015 of being married to a beautiful woman, living in a warm country, doing video conferencing with my business partners and clients. Now, in 2018, I met that woman in Manila, my beautiful wife, Marissa. I knew it was her because I created that dream with so many feelings and so much love that as soon as I seen her, I recognized her. I'm Canadian. I live in the Philippines now for the past 3 years. I don't know if there's any Canadians here, but you know what it's like there. You got 8 months of winter and 4 months of summer. So, you know, I remember living my whole life in, 3 to 4 months. But now, every day is sunshine and beach. And then, I don't know if any of you remember, but back in 2015, video conferencing wasn't even a thing. And, wasn't big. So to even think and or dream that it could be possible, a lot of people would think, hey, George, you're absolutely insane. But you know what? I still held that dream. What am I doing today? Exactly what my dream was. And I got to thank COVID for that, because before that, everybody used to go to the office, they used to meet in person. But you know what? It almost seemed like the universe aligned and helped that dream come true. I can open the floor for questions. I think we have a little bit of time for that. I'm not sure how much time we have. Dre?
Hey, buddy, how are you? Thanks for that. All right, so.
You're welcome.
All right, so I was in the background, I was just trying to sort out. So on this, on my page, it's not showing, but Dakota is streaming it live on his, on his platform. So.
Okay.
That's probably why there hasn't been very many questions.
Yay! Hey, Brett. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, George, my question for you is, with your clients, what are some of those common frustrations or challenges or pain points that sort of come up? What are the, those patterns that you're seeing? Is it the same thing, or is it, maybe 2 or 3 things, or just various things?
Well, in the initial part of my coaching journey, I always make sure that the business owner falls into one of those 3 categories. They have the experience and have plateaued. They need a new vision, mission, and dream. Because I was there before. Like when I had my computer company, the first thing I dreamed about was being number 1 in my city. I was number 2, but just barely. So I forgot about that dream, and I just tried to keep everything the same. And in business, you can't do that, because the only constant in life is change. So if we're not aware of the changes, our business suffers and it dies. And then the other one is business owners falling for that shiny object syndrome. Oh, I think I can make money at this. I think I can make money at that. But the problem is they need to find out what it is that they're good at, first of all. I call it rainmaking, right? So, for example, If someone's good at sales and marketing, but yet they're doing all the accounting, they're sweeping the floor, they're doing all that kind of thing, they should, as soon as they can, create a system so that they can give it away. And then you got the newbies, you know, they're just beating their head against the wall trying to figure it out on their own. And you know what, honestly, it ain't going to work, because if you don't know, you don't know. There's three aspects to life: things we know, we've experienced them; things that we don't know. That's easy. Hey, I don't know how to make banana bread, so you know what, I'll Google search that one. But all the magic lies in what we don't know that we don't know. And that's where we need the outside source. Because I had mentioned that we all live inside a jar, and the label's on the outside. So if we can't see the label, we're going to be stuck for a long time. So basically, a coach, if anything, just accelerates a business owner's time from A to Z. That's what it does. It's I think the statistics is 3 to 4 times faster. It could be higher, it could be lower, depending on the coach. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, when you were saying we don't know what we don't know, and our greatest gifts, I believe, are in the unknown. It's just having to overcome ourselves. All right, what's the best place for people to get hold of you?
Well, Facebook. I look like this, George Naugle. except I think it's without glasses. Whatever, I don't know exactly. And or they go to my website, www.gni.life, stands for George Naugle International. So www.gni.life. And if they'd like to reach me by email, it's George with a G dot Naugle, Naugle, at the infamous gmail.com.
Brilliant. What else was I going to say? And yeah, that will be it, because I'm going to try and get this, because it's not, I'm going to try and get this working, like, on my page. So George, just want to say, thank you for contributing, thank you for coming on, giving like so much value and being part of the cause and delivering today. So I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Dre, it's all you, mate. I'm going to hand it all back to you, because without you, none of this would have been possible. And, you know, the rest of your crew and whoever else has been supporting this, so yeah. Awesome, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, George. All right, I'll see you in a bit.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, legend. So got a couple of technical problems. So I'm going to play a couple of videos, and then while those videos are playing, then I'm going to do my very best to find out why it's not streaming on my post, and see if there's something else we can do. Might just share the YouTube link. All right, so I'm going to play Brett's video, Holly, and then I'll play Sophie's after, and then I can see PETA in the background. And she's absolutely going to light it up. So I'm excited. And here is the first one. All right, legends. I'm not sure if you could see that properly because saying that I've got connection issues. I'm going to see if I can play the last one.
Come on, Soph.
All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey thought she was all in fun. Goes the weasel. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey thought she was all in fun. Goes the weasel.
Girl. Come on, let me see. That's right, you make her walk yourself.
Gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is not a dream.
Good girl.
Row your boat gently down the stream.
Say hi, Colette.
Merrily, 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 life is not a dream.
All right. Okay, I'm still trying to sort out the feed. Let's do this. I'm going to get Peter out. And all right, Peter, are you good to go early? She's ready. Hey, Peter, are you good to go? Can you hear me? Hey, Peter, can you hear me? Hey, Pete. Peter, can you hear me? All right. So with if you can hear me, with your sound, go to settings. So there's like a kind of a bolt, a mechanical bolt on the right-hand side at the bottom. So there'll be a microphone, there'll be a camera, there'll be a share screen button, an invite button. And on the right-hand side, there's settings. So if you press on that, and then on the left-hand side, it'll say general, video, and audio. And if you click on audio, you can select your audio input, so your microphone, and then audio output for your headphones.
Yeah, I just had to turn the sound on my phone to be able to hear this. To do it, I apologize. Wow, great stuff. So tech savvy.
No, do you know what? It's happened to a few people, today. So it just seems,
just as it connected,
I think the default settings.
It booted me off my own audio when you connected. So, yay.
Yeah, that's all good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous. This is my first ever podcast, masterclass, whatever, mini masterclass. But I absolutely love this. I love the idea of this, the cause for this. I love you and all the things that you do. You're an amazing creature. So why would I not blast past some fear and get into it, I guess.
I love that. Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to jump on board and like the value that you're about to share and being part of it. So yeah, we've created something special. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you to it, and in the background, I'm going to try and work on getting the stream correctly so everybody can see it. Yeah. All right, you got to be amazing, and I'll see you in about 20-ish minutes.
Not a drama at all. So yeah, hi guys, I am Peter Williamson. I have a business called ESF Business Solutions, which basically stands for Easier, Smarter, Faster. And my whole thing is about making it easier for business owners to operate their businesses in a digital sense. So that's software, how they work, what they capture, Basically, people like the coaches, but also a main focus for me is blue-collar businesses, people who struggle to go digital and struggle with technology. I love speaking in simple terms and helping them embrace working with their business from the mobile phone. So I'm going to share a slide pack here, and it's actually a pack for everyone because there's some goodies in it too. So it's got all of the stuff that I'm about to show you, but it also has some tools you can use and some cheat sheets and links and things. So you're welcome to click the link in the chat. I hope that Dre can help me put that in the chat. But yeah, you're welcome to click on that and download it at any point.
Hey Peter, it's been deleted from the private chat, so it's not in there. Are you able to, when you get a chance, just put it in the chat and then I'll put it in the public chat?
It's in there
There we
again.
go. Awesome, thank
Check
you.
that out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So I'm going to skip through a little bit about me very quickly, and then we're going to jump into the good stuff. I'm going to leave the slides up on the screen. You're welcome to read it all. I'm going to paraphrase. So basically, people that are frustrated or too busy to do stuff to work on their business, as in the systems, procedures, organizational system software side of it, someone like myself is a very handy person to know because we can team up with you and help you get where you want to go. My forte is business analysis. So I actually put my clients through a health check, and that's pretty much like a giant survey that tells me all of the elements I need to know to be able to give them some recommendations and a pathway forward. And then people have choices of whether they do that work themselves or they would team up with me and we do that work. So my mission is to share my knowledge and solutions and training with people, but in a really simple, clear way. So no BS. And yeah, help you understand what makes it worth the effort. I don't necessarily come from a traditional background. I started in building furniture when I was 15 years of age, and I ended up in timber, steel and mining with a good side survey of hospitality, and I've been a professional artist for over 25 years. So I speak straight, I'm pretty direct, I have a wicked sense of humor, and I absolutely love to help people succeed and do things easier, smarter and faster. So it took me a little while to understand what I should call my business and what this sort of business is. And I think it's best described as a business improvement service. You can say consultant, you can say business readiness specialist, organizational change manager. Just consultant is probably the most generic thing I've ever heard in my life, so I do stay away from that one. I like to call it business improvement because that's what we're always trying to do, is just improve ourselves and improve the way we operate and our interactions with our clients and customers. So business improvement works for me. When I work with people, I simply get to know you a little bit, have a bit of a personal conversation. I do steer clear of coaching. I think, as you might have seen on some of these amazing streams, there are people that are just absolute gurus at that. I find that if I get people organized and sorted and operating smoothly, that their mental state does improve and their ability to embrace progress and change immediately and innately goes along with that. So there's a little bit of cheer squad coaching, but I mainly focus on the doing and the actions and the practical output of the business. So things like the health check, put a client through that, work on the outcomes and a plan, and then go ahead and get it done. So it's pretty straightforward for me. I'm going to skip past some of the services. This is all part of another sort of presentation, and we've got limited time. So I think it's important to touch on some of the benefits of doing things like changing your software, working with your employees, getting feedback, making the customer experience more enjoyable, and modernizing things and streamlining things, looking at automations and looking at being able to have a set process and a standard process that's unique to you, I'm not necessarily the queen of out of the box software all of the time for everything, that someone will say, oh, you should use this software. I do. But they have a completely different business to you, and they would have nuances as you do. And that software package or stack or series of softwares or apps don't actually fit 100%. And some people it'll only fit 50%, and the rest they do manually, and other people will be 60 to 70%. Some people have got the 80 or 90%, that's gold. But you need to consider your software choices and your business and its needs individually, and treat it like a unique creature, because your business is kind of an extension of you. So what you get when you take the journey of like digital transformation, upgrading, progressing, consolidating, automating, pick a word. These are some of the things that you get. Firstly, you can jump out of the feeling of being stuck and doing everything the hard way, because that does suck. But in your business, you get more information. You can make better choices. You can manage your resources, whether that be people, materials, equipment, time. You can manage those better and get some savings and benefits back off of that. You can learn more about your customers and clients and their behaviors, and therefore make better choices in sales. Your daily experience of driving your computer, driving your tablet, driving your phone, your actual experience improves. So if it doesn't take you 10 minutes, it takes you 3. Or if you do this and it automatically does 3 more things for you, well, that's kind of a tiny little piece of joy. So there is a personal perk to, I guess, going digital. We'll just call it going digital, because I'm going to run out of words. Your ability to, especially if you've got a team of people, the ability to collaborate, even with clients and with your staff, and work in a centralized place and share information, well, that's all gold. There's so much, benefit to those things. And then you have your flexibility and agility to move within the business. If you're digital, as you would have seen with COVID, if people weren't online, they struggled, but anyone who could manage to pivot and get more digital and maybe do podcasts and share their stuff online did better in surviving such a traumatic time for business and personal things. So your ability to manage time and produce more work and get more done in that time is probably another massive one. All right, let's kick on. That's all about the business health check. We're not worrying about that today. I will talk a little bit about why you would do a health check. I do call it a health check because I think saying business analysis and systems analysis and all these big fluffy words is all great, but it doesn't tell you what you're actually doing, and that is checking on the health of elements of your business to see where you could find maybe gaps, so a gap analysis, to find where things are not rolling on so well, you don't score so good, it isn't rocking your socks, and you wish there was an easier, smarter, faster way. You do something like a business health check, and it will show you the gaps. And if for myself, it's my forte, I have a whole system and program for that, a little package for people to go through. And with that, you get sort of a scorecard and a report and recommendations and software ideas and pathway ideas. And then you can make choices for yourself in your business, or we can team up and work through those things. As you can see, these are some of the perks and why you should get it done. I am going to skip through some. This is all in the pack. If anybody wants to download it, they're welcome to. The goodies are at the back, because why wouldn't you? But these are some of the things you should consider in your business. And they're the things that I have in my health check in great detail, quite comprehensively, so that when you complete it, I've got all of the information on these elements so that I can help you. And obviously, if you don't have these things in your business, you can click NA and move forward to the next bit. But most businesses will have a majority of these, because in business, although I say it's nuanced and it's unique to you, business is not unique. And the needs to operate and how to operate one is not unique. So firstly, I learned some stuff about your business. Then we have business divisions. So if you have different sections within your business and what those needs might be. We review and analyze your customer experience. And this is a checklist that you can use to self-analyze. If you want to have a look at the different things and see if you can think up anything that you may need to review and improve on. So just a quick skip through it, customer experience, your current software, like what are you actually using? Are you using apps? Are you using a full-on software package? Does it do everything? Does it integrate with things? Printers and printing solutions, something that doesn't seem to get looked at all that much, but there's a massive cost-saving and time-saving piece around printers and solutions, and that's whether you're renting them or buying them, and whether you want to, whether you're printing a lot of collateral or not. So just something that gets skipped and missed a little bit, but there's a little opportunity there. Goals and outcomes, so where do you actually want to be? Your accounting and finance, no business doesn't have that, come on now. Administration, asset management, change management, contracts, contractors, subcontractors, third parties, R&D, so research and development, sort of, the back end of things, the planning, especially if you have products, human resources, people management. If you've got a team of people, or even learning a little bit more about people management can help you with your clients, customers. So even if you're a business of one, understanding that end of business is not a bad idea. There's some value in there. Health and safety, we're all kind of conditional to that in certain ways. Systems, IT, functions and softwares, web and social media presence, branding and marketing, materials and stock control, operations, the actual daily operations of your business, procurement, production and manufacturing, project management, quality, and then sales and service. And there's a little gap there for any others that you might have that I haven't covered. But you can see there's a lot of elements to a business. And if you've got to manage all of those, or a majority of those, if you're not up there digitally, if you don't have tools, the right tools for the job to manage, capture, communicate, to work within a system that is going to work for you instead of you working for it, you could be juggling all of these things manually. Notebooks, spreadsheets. I know guys that still use carbon copy books. God love them. That's a lot. That's a lot to consider. That's a lot to understand. We are not gurus of every element of our business. There are professionals for this. I often recommend specialists in certain fields to help support my clients. But that's a lot. And if you can get a software or a series of softwares to talk to each other, and you only have to do something once and it does it the rest of the way, that's some smart money and some time management. Now, in this pack, I'm going to jump straight through to some of the tricky, fun things in computers in a minute, and how to use your computer on the daily. That's a lot easier. But this talks to software selection. And these are now I will say a lot of these are affiliate links. So if you do want to click on any of these, there are tiny little perks in the background, might buy me a cup of coffee. But the main focus of these couple of pages is I did a massive review of, I want to say literally hundreds of softwares, because I'm a crazy person and thought it was worth my time. And it actually has been. It's been huge value to my clients. Excuse me. But here's the fruits of the labor. There's a couple of pages here of softwares, what they're good for, what they can integrate with, and whether it's free or whether you need to pay for it, or both. And you can click on the logo or click on the words, and that'll send you through to those pages. They're hyperlinked. But these are kind of the best of the bunch. There is over 3,000 softwares and apps out there in this arena. And I've used a lot of these softwares. I currently use a lot of these softwares. And I think that it's important to do your research, but you can drown and get kind of information overload and freeze. So so that you don't go down that rabbit hole if you don't have to. If you're looking for a particular type of software, say it's collaborations or task management or scheduling and booking or appointment management, here's a hit list of some of the best in the bunch, in my view, in my research. So you're welcome to capitalize on that. Yes, I am a Canva girl. I wasn't. I was anti-Canva until I got stuck into it and really, really wanted to do some clever stuff. Turns out Canva's my jam. So there are some goodies on here. Feel free to have a good read. Click on the links, have a look, see if it's useful to you. None of these are the big boy software, if you know what I mean. So none of these are the ERPs and big CRMs. I do most of my work in those bigger softwares. So they're more around the business management, project management. They're integrated with finance and CRM and appointments and task management, and they have it all in one spot. But they can be really pricey for a business. And the review that you need to do within yourself when you're looking at your business is whether you have 15 things that you need to log into. And some of them might be free, great, okay, but it's 15 things you've got to log into, and you've got 15 things open, and you're trying to do this, and then you've got to click over to that, and you've got to copy and paste it here and put it there and send it, and then you've got to go and add that information back in another one because you're trying to save money, but you haven't saved any time nor any mental anguish for doing it all the hard way. So it's at that point when you've got quite a few things like that that you can consider an ERP or a bigger software that can do more for you, and you can consolidate and streamline some of your processes and tasks. And some of these softwares also have like a B2B in the back of them where you can get your clients to log in. And so you put it there, and then they log in through the front end. You're the back end. So you put it in through the back end. Here's the shiny this stuff, and the client can log in and go straight to it. And things like I think Power Diary is actually a really good one for that, and it's on here. The ability to take client notes, to send things to them, to issue things to them, and get things back. And having that all centralized so you're not having to keep folders of documents and stuff can be really, really valuable. Whoop, we have a third page. I forgot about that. So this actually is not a slide pack in the traditional sense of PowerPoint, because I feel like I love Microsoft, but I'm kind of allergic to PowerPoint sometimes. It's really slow and painful. So what this is actually embedded in is a program called Hazing, and it's a flipbook. And I just love it. So if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I just uploaded a document and did some settings, and there it is. Not too much faffing. And I can just send out a link and you can have it like this too. So it's kind of cool. And then you can also download it. So that if anyone is wanting it, there's the little download cloud. All right, I'm going to quickly caffeinate because I'm in WA and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I really want that coffee. Let's go. One of the other things that I have put in here, I have focused today on a Microsoft environment. So Outlook, Word, Excel, Teams. I do love Teams now. Took some getting used to, but it's definitely, if you're in a Microsoft environment, because it connects to everything else and you can centralize everything in it and everything's automated once you do, it's a valuable thing. But Teams can also be an absolute pain in the neck if you don't know what you're doing and you're not using it to its fullest ability. Actually, that's a really good point. I have had so many clients say, my software is rubbish. Oh, no, that's crap. Like, it doesn't do anything. And then I go and have a look. And we have a real conversation around how they use it. And it turns out it's actually them using 10% of the software and what it's capable of. And therefore, they're not getting the value out of that tool. So they think the software is awful and incapable. But it's actually their work management process. So how they actually use that software. It would be good to have a little check for yourselves to see what else your software can do. And I recommend like YouTube videos and Googling. Like, it's not complex. You don't have to read, volumes of stuff on this. What you need to do is get savvy and do it the easier, smarter, faster way, right? So just get on Google, get on YouTube, features of whatever your app or software might be, or website. So do that and see if you're using it for everything that you should or could, because what you'll find is softwares constantly evolve and they constantly have new releases and updates, and they have a pathway or a roadmap, and you can often see it on their website, upcoming features. And if you don't stay up to date a little bit with that, then you're going to miss the opportunity to do more of your business or your work in that software. So, and if you've got those like 3 things split across those softwares and it turns out your software can do it all, time to review, change the work process, share, rewrite the procedure, teach people, and training your people and yourself is kind of critical too. Anyway, back to the pack, just to show you what's on the screen. All of these are actually hyperlinks, and this was just a very compact way of showing you all of the things that you can learn about. These are all links to the training of these things, but it also is a great list of what teams can do. So there's a couple of pages here of all those links. Handy if you're skirting the edges of Teams and you're in a Microsoft environment and you're using Outlook. If you're using Outlook and you're sharing information with clients or staff, if you've got Microsoft, I recommend probably scooting over and checking out Teams and what it can do for you. Right, here's some goodies for you. This is a keyboard shortcut cheat sheet. Now, if you're a keyboard shortcut guru like me, and a nut for it, because I don't love the mouse all the time and I do type fast, I am always on the computer, these little babies are gems. And what it basically is there's a line here for Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and universal for all of Microsoft. If you want to do something without having to right click on the mouse, select the menu, like this, and then go down and copy, blah, 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 you don't actually have to. You can just hold down Control and press C or X, or you want to undo it, Z. So these are fantastic to print, chuck under your keyboard, and start changing your habits if you want to spend less time at your computer and more time doing the fun stuff and the things you actually built your business for. So if you're not quite as tech savvy as you'd like to be, and you're not quite a faster typer and mouse operator as you'd like to be, these cheat sheets are kind of gold, because if you can start changing those habits, they do, by the way, they do stick. You do them a few times, then you don't have to look at the cheat sheet anymore, and you don't have to think about it. They're automatic. I love muscle memory on keyboards. Right. So there's one for Office. There's one here for Windows 10. So actually the whole Windows environment. There are keyboard shortcuts for a load of stuff. And I just think they're great. And I think they've been forgotten a little bit. We used to use keyboard shortcuts a lot more when mouses weren't so great. Or when laptops only had a tiny little joystick in the middle of the keyboard and they were about this thick and they were black and white and they were bricks. I remember. Sadly, I'm old enough to know. Righto. Microsoft Teams cheat sheet. So we've got some Teams training in there. We've also got some keyboard shortcuts in there to make operating and navigating easier, which is fun. I've put 2 sheets in here, and today I'm just focusing on tools for you to use and practical output. So we're going to start with a SMART goal sheet. Now these are like standard business assessment practices. They're pretty common. A lot of the coaches here might have their own versions to help their clients. SMART goals is about setting realistic and achievable outcomes. And it's kind of your to-do list, but with a twist. It's what you're aiming for, but then it's also looking at the elements within that to make it realistic, that you can see it, and you know all the things you're going to need to consider to actually execute it. So it's SMART for SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So, what do I want to, firstly, you put your goal at the top. What do you want to happen? Apologies, guys. How will I know when I've achieved my goal? So what's the actual trigger or sort of gateway that you need to go through, the thing that's going to tell you you actually did it? check just how realistic your goal is. And it doesn't have to be easy to be realistic. It can be really complex and really big and really difficult and still be realistic. But to do that, you need to know how you're going to accomplish it. So maybe a little bit of planning wouldn't be a bad idea. And so this is where you can put down a little short version of how you would plan to actually do it. So therefore it's realistic because you've got a plan, you can execute. I think this is probably my favorite one is why. Why? Why do I need that? Why do I want to do that? Why is it important to me? This is definitely one to keep an eye on, because if you don't have a reason, a good reason to be executing something, and it's not in, I guess, your attitude, your spirit, your heart, it's very hard to stay driven about something you're not passionate about. So make sure you've got good whys for doing things, and put an end date. You can fly past the end date, that's fine, but you do need to put a deadline on things, because having an end date means that this thing is a thing you can achieve and finish, and therefore getting to that finish line is actually, psychologically and physically is freaking joyous. So, put an end date on something. Go, oh yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it next month. Oh, I've got to do that. Not such a great idea. So, what's your deadline? And this is just a really great place to put down a certain goal and break it down and make sure that you've sort of got all of the things covered. Alrighty. SWOT. Oh, this is not, I didn't like these, but they have good value. So SWOT analysis, big fluffy words, is basically having a look at pros and cons. So we don't only look at the positives, we're going to look at the negatives as well. So it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, if you've got something in mind, this is, you see, looking at this, there you go, the 3 C's of an internal analysis. So it's for company, customers, and competition. So you can look at any of those things, and in this, you want to look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And those threats can be anything from financial, like economic, environmental, competitors in your industry. Can also be legislative and regulatory changes, because if they change those things, it can affect how you legally can operate your business. So it's kind of valuable to consider your threats as much as your opportunities. Don't always look at the sunshine. Have a little bit of just a little bit of wariness for what else affects your business, because it isn't just you that can affect your business. There are lots of external factors as well. So I think I've done this in almost a good time, because I want to have a chat with Dre, and I've got a few minutes, which is good. So this is how to contact me. I am on social media, Facebook. I have a website and all of those things. I mainly consult with clients in the blue collar fields, but I also do have coaches and psychologists and other people like that I assist with their stuff. But I do focus on practical output. So ta-da, first ever mini masterclass. I think we've blasted through that. Dre, did I survive?
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, thank you. So much gold in that. And I was going to get someone to call the fire brigade, because you were just on absolute fire. Love that. Absolutely love it. All right.
You're a sweetheart.
All right. So guys, do you know what? There's probably not that many people tuned in because it wasn't streaming properly. So what I'm doing is sharing the COTA stream on my page.
Yep.
So I was thinking, why are the numbers so low?
God.
That's because no one can bloody see it. So
yeah, well, that's okay. They can always rewatch, and I talk so fast they'd probably want to play and pause anyway. So
that's cool. All right. So you've put your
well, then there
contact
weren't any
details out there.
questions. I was going to ask if there were any questions, but
No questions.
that's a well-informed audience that doesn't ask any questions.
Yeah, so I was thinking, because you're only, I think, one. So there's 2 people that aren't actually like coaches, and even though you used to be a coach before, so I reckon that counts. Yeah, basically counts.
Yeah, I part coach. Coaching comes alongside with the practical output stuff, but I coach in a cheer squad way more so than a highly polished and designed professionally qualified way.
Love it.
I coach through life. The School of Life is the one that I took, and I did it in about 5 industries over 20-something years. So
That's cool.
I don't like to make too many promises on psychological side of coaching. I do focus on the thing that I am best at, which is the practical output. And it does bring people joy, and it does change their mindset, and it does change their attitude and make them feel like they can be progressive and embrace change. So it has a knock-on effect that's gold. But I focus on the doing side of it, and people will often have other business coaches and team coaches and things that the gorgeous people we've seen on all of these casts. They will also have those people, and you can use a myriad of us in a business over a certain period of time at different stages to embrace and strengthen you and your business. So I strengthen the business operations and work management. A lot of the coaches I've seen on here are fantastic for strengthening teams and people, and which allows them the ability to do the doing. So I think you need a little bit of everything. It isn't always just one thing to make it work. So you can always look at more solutions to a problem, if that makes sense.
Awesome, thanks, Peter. Right, Lon, any final words, like anything motivational, any dad jokes that you'd like to share before you leave?
I'll share a secret. There is a dad joke
yes,
or an
please.
in-joke. There's a dad joke or an in-joke in my business name. So I spent quite a long time trying to figure out how I could get BS into my business name, because I did mining for 15 years and I swear like an absolute trooper, and I've been trying to wash it out, but it doesn't wash out, I gotta tell you. I managed to make my website ESFBS, because if it isn't easier, smarter, faster, it's bullshit. And that's pretty much what I tell people all the time. If you're not doing it the easiest, smartest, fastest way, you're wasting your time and everybody else's. And it's worth spending a little bit of time on correcting that and getting it as easy, smart, and fast as you can, that you know, to help yourself and to help everyone around you. So, yeah, if I find a lot of people are stuck in their ways and they don't want to change, and I simply say, if there was an easier, smarter, faster way to do it, would you? And they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, well, then this is bullshit. So, excuse my language. I apologize. It's in context for the joke. But yes, that's why there's BS, and I had to think of a nice, polite words for that. And so business solutions. But basically, yeah,
Love that.
I just think people need to get really clear about how they work.
We'll wait to finish. Right, Peter, I just want to say a massive, huge thank you for you for jumping on board as well and just sharing the value and also being so supportive of what we've created and what we're trying to do. It means the world. So, you're a legend.
I think you're cranking. You're absolutely cranking this. I love it. Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, be in touch. You'd be amazing. Enjoy your weekend.
See ya.
All right, so that was Peter. Next, we've got Katie D in the house. This woman, this human, is just incredible. So I want to give a big, massive, warm, ginormous welcome to Katie D.
Woo, yeah. How are you? Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me on, and excuse the voice. I've got a little bit of a sore throat, so it's a bit on the croaky side at the moment, but nothing's holding me back from being here, and how amazing it is to be part of this event that you've put together. I've just been in and out watching everybody, and it's just been fantastic. What an amazing thing that you've put on.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for jumping on. Yeah, because I actually forgot that you're a bit unwell as well, and yeah, because I got your message yesterday, and you're like, oh, yeah, everyone's sick. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm good. I feel okay. I just don't sound the best.
All right, so I believe you're going to be talking about emotions and being consciously aware and
yes, my 3 favorite topics of conscious awareness, self-love, and emotional mastery. And I don't have any notes. I don't have any slides. I'm just going to be talking about my story, sharing my vulnerability of my story. And so you may need to cut me off at the end and be like, hey, we've hit the half an hour, because I just like when I get into that stuff, I just keep going. So, you know, I'm really excited to be able to share with everybody today.
Love it. All right, I'm going to leave you to it, and I'll see you in about 20-ish minutes.
Perfect. Hey everybody, my name is Katie D. I am a mindset coach for women, and I haven't always been a coach. I've been a coach for about 4.5 years, and prior to that, I used to work in the corporate world. I was working at Westfield head office, and I was doing that for probably about 6 years. Before that, I was in a digital marketing role as well. So I've very much been in the corporate world for a very long time. But I became a coach off the back of, what I'm about to talk to you about, which is my own journey of hitting rock bottom. And so I wanted to talk to you about how these 3 particular things of conscious awareness, self-love, and understanding your emotions really can help to turn your world around, just like it did for me. Because people look at me and they go, oh, but you're a coach. Of course you can get it right. You train people on mindset. I'm like, well, no, I didn't always do this. I used to be in digital marketing. This wasn't my expertise once upon a time. I love what I do, and I'm so fucking passionate about it because of how prominently it changed my world and how I've seen it change the world of my clients over the last few years. And that's what makes me so, so passionate, is around getting those client results around the particular areas that help to turn my world around. So I'm going to go back about, 5 years ago to when, the journey kind of changed for me. When I hit my rock bottom, there was a lot of things in my world that I didn't realize were playing out, things that were happening at a very unconscious level for me, right? So for those of you who don't know or don't understand, we have our conscious and our unconscious mind. And our unconscious mind, it's where we kind of live in autopilot a lot. We're just kind of playing life out. We don't need to think about what we're doing. It just happens, right? So this is what's programmed. Our unconscious mind is where all our programming is stored, all the conditioning. So all the things that have happened to you throughout your life, when you get angry, when that anger just happens, when you react, that is your programming that is doing that for you. That's you in autopilot mode. And so when I hit rock bottom, it took a lot for me to understand what all of my autopilot behaviors were. The fact that I was not living to my values, the fact that I was very much living a life that I just thought was the okay life for me. I was settling, and I wasn't consciously aware of the things in my world that were playing out automatically, that were just happening because that was how I was brought up. There's that belief, right? How many people, I'm sure, have that belief that, but that's how I was brought up. The amount of people who say to me things like, that's just how I am, I'll always be that way. No, you can change it. You always have the ability to learn, to grow, to master, and to change not who you are, but essentially how you behave. And so going back 5 years ago, I had to really look at what the hell was going on in my world that I needed to change, what I needed to learn from, what I need to grow from. And that consciousness helped me to get there. It was really, at the time, it was really a lot going on around my relationship. My relationship had hit its all-time low. We were both in a really bad way. We were both struggling, and we couldn't help each other. When we were both in that really low vibrational energy of, depression and anxiety and even suicidal thoughts, we couldn't help each other. And so it was a really conscious decision to then separate, to then go on that journey on our own. It was around understanding what I needed to do to change all the programming that was already going on in our relationship, in my life, in my behaviors. It took time for me to also own my shit and realize that it's easy to point the finger and blame other people. But what really, really is powerful is when we can take ownership for our own problems. And so I'm going to get to that in a minute. But conscious awareness. So I had to be consciously aware of what I wanted to change. I was living in this unideal world. I didn't sign up for this life. I didn't sign up for fighting every day and for arguments and, my kids consoling me instead of the other way around. I didn't sign up for depression and anxiety and to be unhappy in my life. This isn't what I want. So what do I want? I had to really understand what I wanted because I kept focusing on all the shit that I didn't want. So I needed to get really clear on what I wanted. I want to be in a happy relationship. How the fuck do I create a happy relationship when this is all we've known how to do? So it was around creating conscious behaviors. When I do this behavior, this makes me feel this way. When I do this behavior, it makes me feel this way. So for example, when you have a fight with your partner, it makes you feel like shit. But then usually what happens as a knock-on effect is that you don't take it out on them. You'll usually go take it out on the kids, right? And I know there'll be so many parents right now who can relate to what I'm talking about, because I know that it's not just me. I know I'm not a lone soldier in this. So many parents get this, it's this vicious cycle of feeling angry, taking it out on the kids, and then feeling guilty about it. And then that guilt makes them angry, and then they do this vicious cycle round and round all over again. So I needed to bring some awareness. Okay, that's not what I want. I don't want to be doing that. But what do I want to be doing instead? So having some real conscious awareness around what behaviors that I wanted to do in my life. What were the standards that I wanted met in my life? And playing my world out consciously to make those things happen. So now that I'm aware that I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be depressed, I don't want to be anxious, what can I do about it? These are the behaviors that I want to have instead. So I started playing those behaviors out. The ones that I wanted to do, the ones I wanted to have, the standards that I wanted in a relationship, the respect that I wanted, all of these things came back to being consciously aware. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about, conscious awareness. It doesn't matter what I'm teaching. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether it be a boot camp, whether it be my one-on-one coaching. I always talk about conscious awareness first, because it is the very first step that you need to take. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your personal life, your spiritual world, your business, anything that you are doing, you need to allow the space for consciousness to happen first before you take any action. You need to know in the present moment, this is what I'm doing. This is what I need. And then act accordingly to that. And so I started to make some conscious decisions around my relationship. I can't be in this relationship right now because this isn't serving either of us. I don't want to react to you anymore because that's the only way we know how to communicate, and that's not working. So I consciously choose not to react to you. I choose to respond in a different way. I consciously want to have a better relationship with my kids. So when they are talking to me, I want to be fully present with them. I want to listen intently. And so I started to really change a lot of the behavioral patterns that I had to better the life that I was living. The next thing that I had to do was learn about self-love. And at the time, I realized I didn't actually have very much of it. Now it's one of the biggest things that I teach about, because self-love, it covers so many different areas. But one of the biggest areas in my life that I was suffering from was probably around boundaries. Not knowing how to set firm boundaries and actually follow through with them. And this is a problem that I see so often, is that people say that they have boundaries, but that they don't enforce them. And guess what? Guess what that is? If you're not enforcing a boundary, then it's just a fucking bluff. That's all it will be, is just a bluff. And so you've got to have boundaries that you're actually using in order for them to work. This is why, and I say this because I've been in this situation, this is why people get stuck, unfortunately, in domestic violence. They get stuck in shit relationships. They get stuck in shit workplaces, in toxic environments, in poor friendships, because they don't have boundaries, or because they think they have boundaries, but they're too scared to enforce them. So boundaries absolutely changed my world. It allowed me to go, no, I will not tolerate this in my life anymore. I will not tolerate this. And I put my foot down and I followed through with those things. So boundaries was a really, really big deal for me. Some of the biggest reasons why people don't set boundaries in the first place is because they're too scared to actually follow through. And so was I. I was too scared because I knew that if I followed through with the boundaries I put in place, it means I'm going to lose my relationship. That means I had all these fears coming up for me. I'm going to be a single mom. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be the number or the statistic in my family when no one else is. And I had all this, self-judgment as well. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm a shit partner? So I had a lot of these things that were going on for me that were creating fear that was causing me to not follow through with my boundaries. But I had to overcome the fear. I had to step past it and I had to go, no, this is the only way I'm going to turn my world around. And that was to follow through with the boundaries that I was setting, to understand what my values in life were, what is the most important things to me, and how am I going to get them. So boundaries was a big part of self-love for me. It was around understanding how to get more respect. If I don't love myself, if I'm not showing the world how to love me, then all I'm doing is showing them how not to love me. So I had to learn how to love myself to like the absolute maximum capacity, to really rein in everything that I could to love myself to the best around boundaries, around self-care, actually looking after myself and not burning the shit out of myself constantly. And I don't mean physical burn, but, going into burnout, around owning my shit. I had to take responsibility for my life. I had to take responsibility for the fact that I was in the situation because of me. And like I said, so many people get stuck in shit situations because they're in that position of always blaming the other person. There's this brilliant video that Will Smith has. It's called Fault versus Responsibility. If you've never seen it, go onto YouTube, look it up. Fault versus Responsibility, Will Smith. And I saw that video. It's like a 2-3 minute video. And I watched it not long after we separated. And it changed my world around understanding that I can sit here and live in the effect of my problems. And I can point the finger at my partner and all the other problems in my life. And I can do that over and over and over and over again. But then it's not their responsibility to fix my problem. It was my responsibility to fix my problem. So I had to start owning my shit. You know what? Maybe the fights wouldn't happen if I didn't do this. Maybe the fights wouldn't escalate if I didn't say this. Maybe if I did it this way, it might have a different outcome, right? So I started to own my shit, take responsibility for the things that I was doing wrong rather than pointing the finger at the other person all the time. So boundaries, self-care, owning my shit, self-respect. These were all the things that I started to really understand around how to love myself more. Things like, overcoming fear. I had to really, really learn how to overcome my fear, to not let fear get in the way. And in a world right now where we live in, everyone that you speak to suffers from anxiety, we need to understand that it's just a simple step usually to overcome anxiety, to overcome our fears. A simple step that we're too scared to take because of this concept of I'm an anxious person. But that's just who I am. And we don't have to be those people. It's a label that society is more than happy to attach to fucking everybody because it gives people an excuse for their behavior. And that is not taking responsibility. So anxiety, just touching on this specifically, is something we are all meant to feel. It's something that happens within our body. I get anxiety all the time. Actually, I don't get it all the time. But when I do get it, I don't freak out by it. But I get anxiety just like this, every other person. The problem that most people have with anxiety isn't the anxiety itself. It's the resistance that you have to feeling anxiety at all. Holy shit, if I do that, it's going to make me anxious. And you get anxious about the anxiety that you might get. And that's like a double-edged sword right there. you're getting anxious about the anxiety. And the resistance to feeling anxious or feeling anxiety is what makes you so anxious in the first place. For people who understand it like I do and who allow themselves to sit with the feeling and go, all right, right now, I've got this pain in my chest. It's kind of going up to my throat. That's how anxiety works for me, right? It works different for everybody. My heart will pound a little bit. I'll get a feeling in my chest. It goes up to my throat. And I'll sit there and I'll have a conversation with my husband about it. And I'll say, you know what? I'm feeling a bit anxious right now. And I will sit with that feeling, understand where it's coming from. And this is where I'm talking right now, where I'm going to emotions. This here is emotional mastery. Being able to sit there and acknowledge what you're feeling rather than look for reasons to suppress it. Anxiety is one of the biggest problems that we have in society today, but it's one of the easiest problems to fix just by acknowledging it. Okay, I have anxiety right now. It's not a desirable feeling. It's not something I want to feel. But if I acknowledge it and I work on the root cause of what's causing the anxiety, then potentially I can deal with it. What we have so much in our world is suppression. Suppression of our emotions, suppression of even thinking about our emotions. So it's not just about, oh, I'm feeling it. It's like, I don't even want to think about feeling it. And so when we come back to sitting with our emotions, we can actually learn how to respond better. We can learn how to overcome the negative emotions easier. We can learn how to feel and sit with the feeling and be okay with it. You know, it's so easy to go, yeah, you know what? I'm feeling shit right now. I need to change my state. I need to just feel something different right now. I need to get up and I need to go for a run. Cool. It's good to do that too, because it's not good to stay in those states. But if you don't understand why you're feeling like that in the first place, sometimes it's necessary to sit with it. Because if you get up and go for your run or go and ground yourself, or go for a swim in the ocean, every single time a negative emotion comes up for you, then chances are you're not giving yourself the enough experience or time to learn from what it is that you need to learn from why you're feeling like that in the first place, right? So allowing yourself to feel your emotions and not be afraid of them is the first thing. People think, oh, a negative emotion. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be angry, right? But as long as you handle those emotions in the appropriate way, then there's nothing wrong with feeling those things. Our body is designed to feel those things. We should be able to cry. I cried only a couple of days ago. We should be able to be angry. Staying in those emotions is what causes long-term problems like depression. But when we feel it, allow ourselves to understand it, and then move out of it, can change everything. So going back to my story, this was again a big part of what I needed to do, was to understand how I was feeling. How do I feel when this happens? How do I feel when that happens? What do I want with my life? Do I just want to keep reacting? Right? This again goes very hand in hand with conscious awareness. Being consciously aware of when you're emotional. Being consciously aware of when you're angry. Right? Because let me tell you this, a lot of people don't know this, but anger is a secondary emotion. It's not the first thing that you feel. You will always feel something else before you feel angry. You might be hurt. You might be embarrassed. You might have anxiety. I know for my husband, that's something that's quite common for him, is that if he feels anxiety, he usually gets angry. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else other than how he's internalizing it. And I know that would be a common one for a lot of other people too. For me, my anger usually comes from being disrespected or something being out of my control. That could be a common one for other people, right? Understanding what the emotion is underneath anger can help you to stop you from getting there as frequently as you might be. So for me, it was really about understanding my emotions and then learning a new way of dealing with them. Okay, so right now I am, I'm in a position where I'm no longer in my relationship. I'm pissed off about X, Y, and Z, but I need to find a better way. I need to find a better way to do things. Because emotionally, my emotional intelligence it was down here. So I need to find a better way to cope. Understanding my emotions was helping that, but finding new ways to express myself was another. When I feel angry, rather than losing my shit and fucking swearing and carrying on and throwing things, I'm going to recognize my anger at an early stage. I'm going to recognize that I'm getting emotional about a conversation. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to say, you know what, right now, I can feel that I'm getting emotional and I don't want it to start a fight. So, I'm just going to leave this conversation. I'm going to go take half an hour out. I'm going to think about how I'm feeling and then let's come back to it. And having that type of approach changed everything for me, because it didn't just help me change my conditioning, but it helped to plant seeds for my partner. And together, even though we were running two separate journeys now, as two separate people separated, we were coexisting, we were co-parenting, we were not living together, we managed to turn our entire worlds around by learning conscious awareness, by learning how to love ourselves, and by learning how to have that emotional mastery, to change our reactions into better responses. And we completely reconditioned everything that we thought we knew about our relationship. For the first 6 years of our life together, we behaved the same way. Then we got back together after 6 months of being separated, and we had a completely new relationship. 2 years later, we got married. Actually, no, sorry. I take that back. It's been 2 years since we got married. How long was it? Maybe 18 months later, we got married, and then we had another baby. We now have a family of 3. Not long after I hit my rock bottom, I became a coach. 6 months later, after hitting rock bottom, while being separated, I decided that my journey was so fucking powerful around the things that I'd learned, the experiences that I had, the lessons that I needed to share with other women, that I decided that I wanted to become a coach. And I used that information, along with many, many other things, to help other women to turn their worlds around now, just like I did. My husband also, he became a mindset coach for men, while I became a mindset coach for women. And we decided that our story of separation and getting back together and completely transforming our worlds and what we knew to live the life that we desired, to have the relationship that we longed for, was powerful enough to share, and that we could help not only other men and women, but other couples to learn how to do things the way that we did. And so if we can do it, anyone can do it. Our story is no different to anybody else's, except that we were committed. We didn't just make a decision. We were committed. So many fucking people make decisions. You can make 50 decisions a day, but your decisions are fucking bullshit until you become committed. And so many people message me and say, Katie, I just want what you guys got. Wish my partner could just walk with me on this journey to have what you guys have got now. Because it can happen for anybody. And all it requires is your commitment to do whatever it takes. And that's all it was for us. A commitment. Commitment to be better. To be consciously aware of your behaviors. To want to love yourself more. and to understand that your emotions control everything that you do. And when you can be friends with your emotions instead of fearing them, it'll turn your world around too. And that's it for me.
Wow, 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 wow. Somebody call MC Hammer because you just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Katie, thank you so much, because I know that you're not feeling well. That was like really inspiring, empowering. And a couple of things. What was the Will Smith? You mentioned about Will Smith, the Will Smith video on YouTube.
The Will Smith video. It's called Fault versus Responsibility. It's like a 2-3 minute video. You can just look it up on YouTube. It's fucking brilliant. I have watched it in the last, I don't know, 4.5 years since it was released. I've probably watched it well over 100 times. I show it at all my boot camps. I have, it still gives me goosebumps every single time I watch it. It's just so fucking powerful.
Awesome. I'm going to make sure I watch that. And the other thing is, I didn't realize what you said about anger and that's a secondary emotion. I didn't even think, because that's right. Because we think of like, oh, maybe we're upset and then we get angry, or we get humiliated and then we're like, oh, yeah, just.
Yeah. So a lot of people will go to anger straight away now because their unconscious mind has that programmed. When you get upset, you've always gotten angry. So now I'm just going to give you anger straight away because that's what you've always done in the past. That's now programmed. So now autopilot kicks in and consciously you go straight there. But deep down, even if it's for a millisecond, you felt something else first. Without even realizing it, you would have felt some kind of hurt or disappointment or, upset or embarrassment or whatever it is. You would have felt something first before it got to anger.
And another question about self-love. What are some ways that people can practice like self-love? Or what are some of the ways that maybe you practice? Yeah.
There is so many different ways that you can practice self-love, because for me, it's one of the biggest things that I teach. It's like the biggest module that I have because it covers so many different areas. But to be able to just start off with simple self-care tips, knowing what you personally need, your non-negotiables, just focusing on 2 non-negotiables that you could have every day. Some people, it's, I need to wake up and do breath work every single morning because that's how I need to start my day. Some people, it's like, I have to meditate twice a day. For some people, it might be, I need to wake up and drink my green shake or my smoothie every morning because that, gives me the right energy. For some people, it might be, I have to hug my kids as soon as I wake up every morning. So you've got to work out what your non-negotiables are for you and absolutely follow through on those things that make your soul feel better every single day. And that's just one tiny tip on how you can start to love yourself that little bit more.
Awesome. More questions, because I can see Colette have any workshops, challenges, seminars, retreats, or anything coming up?
Yes. So everybody can reach me through my Facebook page. So, look up KDD, you will find me. You can Google me. I was one of the Yahoo's number 2 of the top 10 female life coaches in 2021. So if you look up top 10 female life coaches in Australia, you'll see me come up in the Google and the Yahoo ads. So you can find me that way as well. But through my Facebook page is definitely the easiest. I have a workshop coming up it's the last Sunday of the month. So if you would like to join that, it's called Less Anger, More Self-Love.
Awesome. Is that virtual or is that in person? Yeah.
It's virtual. It's free. It is over 2 days. It is an hour, 90 minutes each Sunday. It's a Sunday night and Monday night. So if you're interested in joining that, please feel free to reach out to me.
Katie, you are an absolute megastar. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. I didn't realize, I've heard parts of it, but I didn't realize all of it. So thank you for being open, honest, and vulnerable. And got so much love for you and Ryan. So yeah, just thank you for everything and all the support with this as well.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome. And thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. All right, so that was Katie B. All right, next up we have Colette Fields. I can see her in the background. And let's get Colette out here. All right, let's give big warm, ginormous, gigantic welcome to Colette Phil.
Hey, Dre.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am out muzzin, absolutely amazing. So just to let you know, with the stream, for some reason it's not streaming properly on like my channel. So we're using decoders. So there's probably not going to be that many people that are actually sort of watching. So there won't be any or too many questions. However, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do? And then after that, I'll depart and then you can do your thing.
Okay, so I'm a coach. I've been coaching for since 2016, focusing on people's mindsets and empowering people. So what got me into this, I was in a traumatic accident when I was 18, coma 10 days, brain injury, told I'd be brain dead, wouldn't be able to do anything. When I did start recovering and rehabilitating, I was told that my brain could recall everything I'd already learnt, but I would never be able to learn anything new again. But I was lucky I had a job at Coles supermarket because that's all I'm going to be able to do, because I already knew that, and that's what my life would be. I didn't like that. I disagreed. I was 18. I was a stubborn teenager, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to prove these specialists wrong, and I am going to do what it takes. And I'm going to go to uni. I'm going to study psychology, and I'm going to get a degree, and I'm going to use my experience to help others. And I did it. I did the back then ordered CDs online on how to train the brain and memory and things like that. So while I was going through my rehabilitation, I was doing that, and then went to TAFE as a warm-up before going to uni. And then, went to uni, got my Bachelor of Social Science degree.
Boom. Yeah.
Yes, and I've had, since Coles, I've had four jobs. I do, when I find a job, I do enjoy them. So I do stay sort of long-term in the industry so when I'm there. But I've had, since Coles, I've had 4 successful careers since then. So I've proved them all wrong. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to share this gift and what I've learnt with
100%.
others.
I love that. Oh, Colette, your journey. And I love the way that you've taken that on, because some people, they'd hear something, someone was like, oh, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to amount to anything. But you were like, fuck you. And and it's worked, and you've been successful, where other people would probably just, crawl into a little ball and just wouldn't do anything. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to leave the floor to you. You do your thing, and I'll see you in about 20-ish minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so everyone, I'm going to talk about my experience coaching people with special needs. This is a charity event for raising money for people with special needs, so I thought I'd share my experience in that industry. So a little bit different when you're coaching people with special needs is they're born with those barriers. It's not learned behavior, where a lot of people, they're coaching to unlearn bad behavior. These are people that have been born with that behavior, and so that's all they know. We know it's a challenge, but that's all they know. So they don't realize that their barrier, their diagnosis or whatever, that's a challenge, because that's all they know. So my experience was helping them, coaching them when they sort of hit the age where they're no longer able to progress in schooling, and then where to next. So usually for most people, it's work. After school, you go to work. That's the tradition, that's life. And a huge percentage of our life is spent in the workplace. So for people with barriers, a lot of them it's, well, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I can't do anything. And then a lot of their carers, they've looked after them for so many years. They're now exhausted. They don't have the resources, so they don't know what to do either. So where I'd come in is I would meet with them, talk to them, focus on what they can do, what their interests are, what they like. I didn't want to hear about their barriers or what their doctors had says or what they can't do, what they can't do, what they can't do. I thought, that's not serving you. It's not serving me. Let's focus on what you can do and go down that track. And it's a breath of fresh air for them because it's not common that that's what they hear. So, for example, a lot of my clients, autism, so they don't have the social skills or don't want working with people, but yet technology mindset, stats, or just attention to detail. So focusing on going into that way. A lot of other people that I worked with were more of the type where, hey, let's just hand them a job. Let's talk to an employer. Let's hand them a job. The employer's willing to accept them with their barriers. Let's give them a job and let them go. Whereas I was like, no, their whole life they've been told that they can't do anything. So I'm going to show them, like, this is what you do when you're trying to market yourself to potential employers. Let's go out there and, meet with people. I'm not going to hand it to you. Let you do the work, because by you doing it, you're seeing that you're accomplishing something, that you are capable, that you don't need to be handed this on a plate, that you do have the skills. You can go to the employer, you can talk to the employer, they can meet you, they can see what you're like. And then just the act of you doing it, the employer sees that you're keen and you do actually want to go to work with them. I found that was very empowering for these people, because they haven't had much success with doing anything themselves. Everything previously had to be held their hand or given to them. And then here I was like, well, no, this is what you need to do. We'll practice. I'll be there in the background if you need me for the support. But you can go and you can promote yourself and you can tell them that your skills, like, yes, okay, you've got this diagnosis, but this is what you can do. This is what you want to do. And I found that was very, very successful. While I was talking to someone last night, actually, about my successes in that role, and one of them was, I'm not sure of the proper scientific diagnosis, but was a mature age lady. She was early 60s. She had actually, when her husband passed away, she'd actually become mute. She couldn't speak. She'd write. She was quite educated, but with the trauma of losing her husband, she just lost her voice. She was from Singapore. She had met her husband there and moved to Australia with her husband. And so her family and network was all over in Singapore. And then when he passed away, she was just left by herself. Now, the 7 years prior to meeting me, she had been to many specialists, been to lots of other providers trying to assist her, and was sort of put into the too hard basket category. And then when she came to me, she was expecting me to be the same with her as well. Whereas I'm like, hang on, no, this is a challenge for me. Let's see what we can do here. So she can write. Technology today, everyone's SMSing on their phones. No one likes actually talking on the phones. So, hey, how about we get you a phone so then you can text. You don't need to call anyone, but if you've got appointments and things like that, you can talk to people via text. So that was the one thing that we did. And that sort of started giving her the, like, oh, I can do something. I can do something. And then the next step from there was, okay, all right, so you're used to the phone now. How about we get an iPad, email, or all the apps and things that you can do. She was most of her time was spent reading. She loved reading. I'm a reader as well, so we had a bit of something in common there. So she'd bring books to me every appointment that she'd been reading and recommended to me. And I'm like, well, hey, with the iPad, you can just click of a button, download books, read books. You know, you don't have to keep going back and forth to the library. Email, you can start communicating even with your family over in Singapore. Email, great way to connect. So I did that, and I didn't put her in the too hard basket. I was intrigued. I made her, like, she wrote answers, but I wouldn't ask easy questions. So I'd want her to describe her husband with me. I want her to describe her previous work history. I wanted her to describe the books that she was reading and why she liked them. And so towards the end, it was too much writing. And so then eventually she'd answer me. It'd take her a bit, but she'd just put the pen down, and then it was too much, hand was getting sore, so she'd just answer me. I didn't do any big fusses or anything about it. I just like smiled and nodded, like, you know, so I recognized that she was talking, but I wanted her to build up the confidence. I didn't want her to feel pressured that I'm going to automatically think that next time she comes in, she's going to be just talking away. And then eventually we got to the stage where she did feel comfortable enough to start talking to me. If there was anyone else around, she wouldn't. She'd freeze and go back to just handwriting. But we got to the stage where she was confident in talking to me. And then I thought, hey, previously you were a teacher. How about trying, you know, we'll do an online course, maybe getting your teacher's aid certification and go down that track. Then it's not as stressful as a teaching position. But, you know, you've got your barriers, or you'll be able to use the skills from that and be able to relate to the kids with that. So she agreed, and within 6 months completed the course. And before long, it was good hearing her just walking into the office and verbally talking to everyone as she came in, and finished the course, high distinctions, and working in that position. So that I found that was a really great achievement for me, especially since, you know, it's been 7 years where no one was able to help her. Another win that I also had was with a client that suffered from autism. No social interaction, didn't like any contacts, personal space, was very statistics and structure, but he loved animals. He loved animals. And so I said, hey, how about we start focusing and reaching out to that industry, see how you go there. And it took a while because it was the start of COVID and things like that. But he got a position at the koala sanctuary up here, and he loved it. And what was the most rewarding thing for me was that after his first week in that job, he came into the office and he gave me a big hug and wanted a selfie picture with me with his phone. For someone that no social connection with people, that was a big reward for me, that he wanted a hug from me. So that was very satisfying, and grateful to him for doing that and showing his appreciation to me, breaking down that previous barrier, which he wouldn't even have the social physical touching with his parents. So that I thought was like, that was a great thing that he knew, that showing me that appreciation in that way. I thought that was fantastic. So basically why I'm sharing all this with you is because focus on the can, not the can't. There's so many, drilled into us. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. But focus on what you can. Be thankful every day when you get up. The air that you've breathed, be thankful that you're having another day here. Be thankful of all the things that you can do. And you know what? All the barriers and things that we've got in the past, overcome them. Don't listen to everyone else. Don't yes, okay, we do have to listen to the professionals to some degree. But if it doesn't sit well with what they're saying to you, if you know deep down inside in your gut, in your heart, that what they're saying is wrong, you go out there and you do the work and you change and you live the life that you want. I know when I was going in rehab, when I entered rehab, they told me that I had to be prepared that I'd be there for at least 2 years. Within 4 weeks, I was going home. And I remember as I was saying goodbye to the friends that I made inside the rehab, their condition was nowhere near how mine was. And they'd been there for 6 months and had no end in sight. So I did question. I'm like, but why do I get to go and they're still here? But it does all come down to your own self-belief and your own determination to get where you want to be. And I knew that there was no way that I was going to be staying there in that rehab for longer than I needed to. Just the steps that I took, like even now, people that I meet now, people that I knew before the accident, they can see the difference in how I am. If I'm tired, I'm slower at processing things. I can be quick with reactions and things like that. But people that I meet now, they can't tell that I've got a brain injury unless I tell them. I went through the 4 jobs that I've had since Coles, government agencies and things like that. No one knew. No one knew about my condition. No one knew about my brain injury, and that's how I wanted it. I didn't want people to give me special consideration because of that disability or that barrier. I didn't. If people didn't need to know, I didn't tell them. So that's what I want people to. Don't let your barriers define you. You know where you want to go. You know where you want to be. Do not let the barriers define you, because life is amazing. It's there for you to design. So do what you need to do to get there. Have the self-belief, have the determination. Don't worry about all the negative Nancy's or the naysayers around you. Just believe in yourself, and you know that you can do it, whether it's overcoming just the mental illness, whether it's your health, whether it's the losing the weight, whether it's the overcoming addiction, whatever it is. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. If you believe in yourself and you set the determination, you will get through it. Okay, so you are the one that needs to make that decision. You are the one that needs to take the steps. You are the ones that need to put it in place and move forward, because you're the one that wants it, not the people around you, not the people that are telling you, focusing on the barriers. They don't care. It's not their life, it's yours. So you do the steps that you need to do to have the life that you desire, the one that you design and what you want to move forward. Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, Colette, that was phenomenal, absolutely, and phenomenal. I love the client wins. I was going to say, did you get any post today?
Posts?
Yeah, did you get any post in the mail?
No.
Okay. Well, because you just delivered. You delivered, absolutely delivered. That was epic. All right, so just trying to get these graphics up. Boom, boom, boom. Man, just I like hearing like those stories and your journey. It's incredible. So can you tell me, was there anything else? Because like you said, so for me, when people tell me that I can't do something, then that like fires me up.
Yeah.
And I know that fired you up. Was there anything else that was helping that you were like, no, I'm going to do this? Was there anything else there, or was it just because people said no? You're like, I'll show you.
Well, I disagreed with them. Like it's funny because at the time I was a manager at Coles, like I was on good money. So at the time I was happy with my career choices. It paid the bills for my lifestyle. Like I had no plans on studying further. I wasn't an academic. But then just them saying to me, no, you can't. I was like, no, I'm going to try this and I'm going to prove you wrong because I think I can. I'm not going to just do this. Like I'm 18. I've got my whole life still ahead of me. Yeah. And it was a bit difficult because a lot of the people around me, well, it's a specialist. They know what they're doing. Listen to the specialist. Listen to the specialist. I'm like, yeah, but they also said I'd be brain dead. They also said this. They also said I wouldn't be alive. That I know all these other things, and I overcome it. So I'm like, well, just let me try. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I know a lot of people did it sort of like as a protection, because they didn't want me to be hurt if I failed. But I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. Like, yeah, it wasn't easy. I was a lot slower in doing everything compared to everyone else, but I had the determination. I was going to do it. And I did it. I studied while working as well. So it wasn't just focusing on the studying. I was doing the two, which a lot of people find challenging as it is. Yeah, so I think it's just a lot of it is the self-belief.
Yeah, so you believed.
Yeah.
You've hit the nail on the head, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes down to self-belief, yeah. And I think commitment, so not giving up when it gets tough, because it would have been tough for you so many times. Did you ever think about giving up, or was it like no?
Oh, many times. Like it was, and it's because I was embarrassed about my like when I look back now, it's like, hang on, no, like that's awesome, like what you've been through and overcome. But at the time, I was actually really embarrassed. I hated mentioning it. I didn't like people knowing about it. I didn't like other students knowing about it. I didn't want to be judged or anything. So I really did like sort of keep it hidden from people. So people didn't realize that there's a reason why it's taking, like I needed things to be repeated to me for it to get sunk in.
Yeah.
They just thought that I was like a slow learner or things like that. But now when I look back, if I did it over again, I'd probably, shout it loud and proud, like, hey, I've just been through this. So you know what, just deal with me being slow and whatever, because I'm overcoming a lot. But yeah, at the time I was very embarrassed.
Are you going to write a book or anything?
I have thought about it. I have actually a few times. It's interesting because as I was going through my my rehabilitation, I've got my mum kept a diary, I kept a diary, and my best friend kept a diary. So I've got all three people's accounts of that whole experience. And you can actually see with my diary, you can see as I start off, I'm like writing like a 5-year-old, talking like a 5-year-old. And then as it gets going, you can see my improvements. Like I'm starting to get better. My words getting better. My writing is getting clearer. So you can actually see like my brain recovering just with my entries in my diary.
Love that. All right. So when's the book coming out?
I've got to just get it together and put it down. But again, that's like I want it to be perfect, but I've got to know just do it, get it out, and then yeah.
Right. So do you reckon maybe by this time next year?
Is that a challenge?
Oh, well, I'm just asking a question. Like, you know.
Well, if Dre's giving me a challenge, then I might have to accept the challenge.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that you're not going to do it, because then you'll prove me wrong. Or maybe I should say that. Yeah. Colette, before you go, is there anything else that you want to like share? Any last words? Maybe some jokes?
Oh, I'm not good at telling jokes, but I do want to say a massive thank you to you for putting this together. It's really a massive achievement. 100 coaches in what 3 years, and it's your birthday, so we all have to say happy birthday to Dre.
How did you know that? How did you know?
You're giving up your day to do this, so I hope there's going to be a massive celebration at the end of the 3 days. For
sleep.
you.
There'll be sleep. Yeah, Colette, thank you so much for what you've shared, for coming on, and for who you are, and the struggle and the challenges that you've been through. I'm glad that you're here to be able to share it, because that's inspirational. That's inspirational. And I love it that the specialists said like that you couldn't do it. That you couldn't, and you've just proved
just quickly as well, the reason why I didn't continue with psychology is all stats. So if you answer this amount of yeses or whatever, then you fit into this box, and I didn't agree with that because I don't fit in that box.
No labels, no boxes.
Coaching, on the other hand, treats you as unique and an individual, doesn't put you in that box. So that's why I stepped away from the psychology side of things and focused on coaching.
Love that, Claire. Thank you so much. You have an awesome weekend. You are just an amazing human, just amazing, beautiful human. So thank you.
Thank you, Dre.
You're so welcome. All right, you get out of here. Have a good weekend. I'll catch you really soon.
See you.
All right, so that was Colette Field. Next, we've got Kelly Paige. All right, Kelly, I can't see your camera on, so I'm going to have to probably give you some instructions of what to do. And then Kelly's going to be the last one of this session. And then we'll be able to go onto a new link, and that should work on my screen. So here is the superstar, Kelly. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, I can't hear you. So let's do this. This is happening with everybody. So if you go to settings, yeah, so it's the little kind of mechanical hexagon type thing, and then click on that. Then you'll have general video audio. And if you click on audio, it will say audio input, audio output. So you should be able to, it might be set to default. If you just change it
Is that
to
better? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, it is. I don't know why it does that. It's been doing it to everyone. Thanks. How are you?
Cool. I'm great. Thanks.
All right. So what I will do, just really excited. Just thank you so much for, agreeing to jump aboard, to share, to add some value, like your experience, your expertise, your knowledge. And yeah, it's just really incredible. So what I will do, you don't need any slides or anything. You're just you're good to go. All right. I'll be back in about 20-ish minutes. Were you going to say something? Or were you?
I was going to say reception here at the moment is a bit in advance if I freeze something like that for a second.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is cutting out a little bit. We'll see how we go, and then I might, if it's really bad, I might jump in and just yeah. All right, I'll see you in a sec. Oh, okay, wrong one. Okay, that was awkward. That was me.
Hi, thank you so much first for the invitation, and it is such a privilege. A little bit of a on me. I'm from in Queensland, Australia, two beautiful munchkins. My has special needs. So this is possibly
Hey,
related
Kelly.
to weird.
Kelly, can you hear me? Yeah, it keeps dropping out. So you'll say something in a sentence, then it'll stop like a second or two, and then you'll cut back in.
Okay.
I had this problem
Give me
earlier with George. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you. Maybe go to settings again. Yeah. Yep.
Is that
Oh, keep talking.
yeah? I've just been having speakers and AirPods, and so I was hoping that
it keeps stopping. It keeps cutting out. Do you have? Do you have?
If I ditch them completely.
That's great. That is great. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Talking, so I think it might have cut out again.
Okay, cool. That's better. I've just been having dramas with my sound week, and I thought I'd fixed it, but obviously it's still a bit dodgy.
Yeah, it's better than what it was, but yeah, it still drops out a bit. So I'm gonna go, and then yeah, you do your thing, and then we'll just do what we can.
Yeah, I think it's just cool. All right. How we go this time? Like I said, apologies in here is a bit dodgy sometimes, and we've got a bit of a and all of that stuff. So it's a little bit. So we'll give it a best shot. So firstly, again, thank you so much to do this. It is super amazing. Close to my heart. It is something that kids with special needs and all of that stuff is something that I well. So a little bit about me. Mum of two. I live in Brisbane here in Queensland. My two kids are ages 7 and Mr. 9 also has special needs. Said this is something that is very close. Live on a daily basis. His is in his brain, so physically he looks, but it's all in his processing of how's the world. So when the opportunity for that, absolutely, hell yes. I am quite musical. I play guitar as well, so that's my between that kids and coaching. There's I have been in the for 30 years this year. It's 30 my 30-year this year, and I absolutely love it as I did when I first started in. The majority of that 30 years for about 3/4 of salons. So I've owned 3 salons in different sizes and styles, that stuff. So yeah, very, very experienced in stepping out of the salon and into the coach years ago. So I completed my NLP certification, and I've been ever since. So the stuff we were here to learn about today. Business owner needs a strong team in their business. Whatever that team looks like, strong team, a strong backbone. So accountant, other business owners, your staff, and a coach. To talk about your staff specifically. Employed many staff over my time. Currently, still have staff in my coaching business. The idea of hiring staff can be super daunting. It's still to this day, even though I've done, I feel quite okay that you don't take lightly. It down for you in 3 very easy. One is knowing rockstar employee. This is so super. This so super clear. It might sound obvious, but it is quite often a step. Do you want someone qualified? I'm speaking about hairdressing salons specifically, speciality. So this is where this knowledge can be transferred though. So it's like a singing industry. Do you want someone qualified? Do you want an apprentice? If you want an apprentice, what stage do you want them at? There's three to four. Do you want them brand new? No excited course. Do you want them to have a year, be really super specific to hire an apprentice? If you want how many years experience do you want them to have just out of their qualification? Do you want them to have experience? Do you want them to have 5, 10, 30 different? Their skill set will be very, very different. Speaking of skills, what skills do you want them to have? Do you want them as a hairdressing apprenticeship? You do your main course and then you have a few electives that you can pick. You want them to know what would you they will be a good fit for your business. Personality, do you want them to have? Do you want them to be more quiet? You need to look at what type at the time as well, so that you know the fit for your business. If you might not want someone that's like extrovert, super loud, super pumping, gel well with your clients, but that type gel well in a really bright, vibrant, pumping. You need someone with the right personality type. Are they a team player? Are they trainable? Trainable is you can teach skills, you can teach, but you can't teach their personalities. So that's really, really need to look at. Do you want them to have something similar to the team that you've got now, or do you want them to have? When you get on what you want, you can start putting things to the heart of your ideal employee. Them to look at your ad and say that is totally for that. In your be different. It needs to be different. It needs to stop the scroll. You need to have a stop or a video or something that needs to. Chances are your iPhone, they're scrolling through their social media, Insta, whatever it is, they're scrolling through. You want that. Have a look at your ad. That is super out there and different. So you at this point, it's not the ad is about them. It has and what you want. It is about the person that is coming in of your team. Step 2, promote. You need to promote that. You need to promote it every your social media outlets. Anywhere that you need to get it out there. BOURKE is super duper clever at helping you to how to get more potential employees. So Facebook will harness every ad out to those specific type are super specific in your ad. Specific people. Do you feel like a superhero? The third and final, it easy. Keep it super simple. It sounds super, but again, this is a step that the fastest way to help someone in your business and in your is to make it really hard for the to apply for the job. Really hard for them to get in contact with you. And when it's really hard, it goes in the too hard baskets. They'll go to another place that might not be offering what you're offering to this, but you've just made it too damn hard for them to apply. Simple. Create an easy path for your new potential to touch with you and to apply for the position. Did you add? What do they do next? Keep it simple. How do they apply? Streamline you can make it, the better it will be. Simple, clear instructions on the app. Yeah, pretty exciting, right? Recap. Step 1. Who are you? Who are they? Get clear on what they do, how they feel now, where they are, where they hang out. All of that's clear. Stop the scroll image or stop scroll video. You want attention. You want them to say, that's. Use wording, like I said, that this ad is for them. Use their words. Promote. Like I said, promote. We all know how much Christmas Day gets promoted. Everyone knows that Christmas Day is happening on that time. Promote your ad the best opportunity to get as many and responding to your ad as possible. Use social media to help you get the ad out there. Platforms, every bit of social media you have available, all of it. Step 3, easy. Keep it super easy. Keep it super simple so they can, because they will stalk you. They will Facebook stalk your business. So keep it super and go, hey, yep, this is me. This is where this is what we can offer you. Keep it. My final tip to finding your rockstar team member is you need to plan in. You don't want to do this in a rush process. It is something that will take effort. You need to interview and you need to go through the process. So you predict at what stage in your biz start looking for a new staff member, or have those moments where we've just had a staff member super quickly. It is still not something that will happen overnight. Plan. So even if you're sort of going, okay, I've got a full start, thinking about my next employee. What's happened in an emergency? If you've had one of your staff quickly, or they've had an injury, something has happened super quickly. This is the homework I've done in advance. And on the flip side, you can say, well, this level in my business, I'm going to be ready to hire. So you then will go through. I'm at this level now. I'm ready to hire you to become part of our team. This is the homework I've done. Let's get moving with it all. Sound good? Make sure that you're busy. And yeah, good job. Great.
Hey, superstar. Alrighty, for that. That was fire. All right. A couple of things. Oh, sorry, say that again.
Good in sound and stuff like that. So yes.
Yeah, so it was cutting out a little bit, but you could make it out. So a couple of questions for you. So with your niche, what are some of the common like problems that your clients have? Is it like the same, or is it like, really sort of different on?
No, it's pretty. So the main problem is growing a team and find that ideal. Hairdressing is a very in demand. People want to be in it.
Yeah.
When they actually, it's a very hard job to do. It's a lot of physical job, and it's a job that brain power and emotional power to do. So finding that right team members is a big challenge for a lot of people. And the next one is growing their business, making more money. A lot of them have a salon already, want to open a financially grow. But things that we talk about a lot. I talk.
Awesome. And another question for you, probably a bit more on the personal side, because you mentioned that you've got two sons with disabilities. You've got business. How do you manage? Also, one son. One son. Sorry. Yeah. How do you manage everything, like with the business and looking after your sons, and that must be a challenging job to do everything.
It is, and I have my to-do list of what I need to do on a daily basis. Non-negotiables within my business. Daily basis, those non-negotiables get done. I am super happy with that day. As a lot of medical appointments and things weekly to fortnightly. So challenge because they're at school, and then after that, it's a bit of a challenge to sort of make sure I drop them at school. I come home and work. I do what I want, and then I go pick them up for school and do what. It's about and being present in the time where I am. I'm super present on my business. If I'm super present.
I love that. Thank you. All right. Any last words? Like any last words? Any dad jokes? Anything inspirational? Anything empowering that you wanna say? Any quotes?
Dad joke, and I'm happy to tell that at the end. First off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Catchphrase. Like I'm still working on. One tip I give to any business owner is authentic within your business. Your business is you. Authentic about you. Keep it you. So yeah, my one tip to business. And my joke. It's bad, but it's one puppy say to the other puppy.
I don't know.
How's your day? Fly.
How's your day?
Rough.
How did I not see that coming? How did I not see me? All right, Kelly, just want to say a massive, huge thank you to you. And I love that, like, straight away that you jumped on board. You're like, yep, Dre, I'm in, I understand. And like, the support, and then what you've delivered today, it's just incredible.
Thank you to you. This is super amazing. It is really amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. All right, legends. Anyone that's still watching, we are cutting this live stream, this finishing, and then we're moving on to session number 3, the afternoon special. So jump on my Facebook, jump on my LinkedIn, jump on my YouTube. The first speaker up is Anissa, and we will see you very shortly.